washed in the blood? Oh, sinners, have you washed in the blood? Oh, temptation will lead you astray. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots. Today's the day. Oh, sinners, have you slaughtered the lamb? Oh, sinners, have you slaughtered the lamb? It's eternal damnation, lest you wash in the blood. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots. The time has come. This prison's on fire, and I lit the match. This prison's on fire, and I lit the match. 'Cause we all want our freedom, not just to break stone. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, send them home. But I'll be a sinner all of my days. I'll be a sinner all of my days. I ain't waiting for Jesus, he's left us alone. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, the seed's been sown. You sit with me, sir, you might learn to survive. Keep that gun loaded, you'll be mine. 'Cause these devils among us are out for our souls. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, we ain't fighting alone. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, we ain't fighting alone.
Hello and welcome to another dev stream with
Hi.
Dennis and Carsten, our
Hey.
UI
Lead designer.
Lead designer, exactly. I don't know. I never introduce Dennis. I just say Dennis. I never knows Dennis because it's Dennis. Yeah. First off, before we even get to talk about the teams of three where did they come from? We're going to talk a little bit about Xbox, because Xbox currently has the Super Game Sale that hit live yesterday. I don't know if the end date is known yet, but we are on sale, so definitely check it out if you are on Xbox and you still haven't played Hunt, because all the stuff that we're talking about today and all the other content that we have already shown during other live streams are also coming to Xbox. So also
Grab it right now. Yeah.
Exactly. And speaking about content, next content pack came live today. So we have the
it's live already. Right now.
If you can go to the next one. So we have two content updates. As you've seen before, we have mixed up some content packs together in the past, and we're still doing that. So now we have gun pack.
The gun pack. So that's actually like two new, completely new weapons we're introducing.
Mm-hmm.
So console players now have access to the Spectre pump action shotgun, including the Spectre compact variant.
Spectre is really good, especially the Spectre bayonet that I see in Close Combat 2.
Yep.
I can guarantee it's a good one.
And the second weapon is the Nagant Officer. So console players might be familiar already with the Nagant. Now the Officer is a double action version. PC players probably know this already. But for the console players that are watching as well, so this comes with a couple of variants, including even a carbine version. So you can kind of use it as a large slot weapon, basically as a fast shooting alternative to the Winfield. Then the second pack we have is the content update for Close Combat 2. So we've already released the Close Combat pack, so this is the second of these type of packs. And that introduces variants of existing weapons, including also one for the newly introduced Spectre, obviously, which features like a couple of bayonets, different mace combinations. The mace is obviously pretty interesting for specific types of enemies. And then the Talon version on the Winfield, which complements the Romero Talon, as well as for the Caldwell Pax, basically a small one, which is a kind of nice, basically pocket knife type of version. So if you use the Caldwell Pax Claw, you can maybe leave your knife at home, but you better do head stabs.
Exactly. And I just saw, thank you, BD, the Super Sale ends the 29th of this month. The sale is 10% for normal users and 20% for gold members. So definitely get on.
There you go.
So yeah, to go to where we're talking about today, in the next slide, we have teams of 3.
Yay, new feature. Who would have
thought? I mean, obviously there was one person who never gave up, Killer. I mean, I think he's summoned and maybe sacrificed a goat at least daily because we have heard it.
Can I get my cat back now, please?
My cats are dead. Okay, thank God. I know. Didn't have to take me. But yeah, teams of 3 and obviously a new UI, which is also definitely something that I'm personally very excited about because we have a lot of changes that we're going to show today. Okay. But let's talk a little bit.
Let's maybe address the elephant in the room, which is teams of 3 here. So basically, teams of 3 are coming. It's a big step forward. Those of you who have already seen the teaser from a couple of days back.
Oh, I forgot to add the video too.
You want to show that or?
I haven't, not on this server.
We can show it maybe afterwards again one more time. Let's
show it when we switch to the PC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, it's out there. Just if you go find it on YouTube at the moment, so you can watch it. And yes, teams of 3, that's a thing. Now the question is, what does it actually mean? Exactly. What are teams of 3 actually for? What are the rules of teams of 3? And that's something we want to talk about today in the stream. So we're going to start with that. And then afterwards, we're going to focus more on the UI improvements and how this whole thing like kind of comes together there on the UI side with the teams of 3 and the other features.
It will be definitely a lot of fun.
Yes.
It is a lot. I'm very excited.
So one of the biggest things about the teams of 3 is obviously understanding the rules. Like, so many people were like asking afterwards of the scene the trailer, like in the different social media forums. They're like, what does it mean? Like how, does it mean there's only teams of 3 now, or will I, as a solo player, for example, will have to deal with teams of 3 now on top? And is basically, in a nutshell, is Hunt as I know it dead? That's been like some of the context. Over dramatization happens. No, it's
especially
not.
By Dennis.
Especially by me. Obviously, that's not the case. So what we've tried to figure out is a way. You can show the next slide, maybe if you want.
Yeah.
Like that, it affects specific players only, and there is an opt-out option for it. So we will show this a little bit later on when we go to the practical part, when we're actually gonna browse the new menu and show you a little bit how this whole thing works. But what it basically means is that. If you don't want to play with teams of 3, you do not need to play with teams of 3. You can play Hunt exactly in the same way you play it at the moment. However, we obviously encourage players to do so because we found out that it's actually quite a lot of fun.
I mean, I'm very excited to see, especially because, like, obviously we have Archer, Phil, a bunch of other good players. I just saw some people in the chat that already play solo against teams of 2. So I'm very curious if they, can stand teams of 3.
Absolutely. Also, it will make my life a lot easier when I play with some of the other streamers. They can now play with 2 at the same time. Then isn't that great?
Exactly. I mean, I did love the comments. It's like, oh, great! Now I can play with 2 of my imagination friends. I love it. I mean, I feel bad for that. I was loving it.
All right. So, what are the rules in detail then? So, what we can say at the moment is that obviously the teams of 3 goes along with another change, which is 12 players. So we're going to expand the total player pool to 12 players.
Yeah.
So a session can no longer just only hold 10 people. It can hold up to 12 people. Obviously, again, this is down to the matchmaking system. Sometimes there will be viewers, and you also don't necessarily know in what constellation you will counter them. So even if you say, I want to allow teams of 3, I want to play with teams of 3, you could also still come across other solos if you play solo, or teams of 2, or a combination of trios. Until the max of 12 players is reached. So it's the same composition as you already know from the game. It just opens up the room for these teams of 3. So now, obviously, just adding like another like pair of hands with a gun into the team and another option for revive, etc., kind of shifts the balance quite a bit, right? Like, so teams of 3 will be, if they know how to coordinate, be quite powerful. So what we have to look into basically, or looked into, was ways to balance this, to make sure that it is a fair experience if you go into this. So one of the bigger points here is that we opted for a bounty bonus. So if you show the next slide.
Yeah.
It's basically something that we've kind of already had in our head for the classic way of playing the game so far with duos and solos, is that the solos kind of always felt a bit underdog, right? Like there wasn't really enough of a reward. So we've kind of tried to address it at the same time, which means basically there is an underdog bonus right now. So that means, similar to if you select a random mission, the bounty tokens you extract are upgraded. They have an additional value on top for random games. It's like each token gets 25 bounty on top as value, because you quite don't know if it's daytime, nighttime. So because you don't know, we're going to give you something on top to risk it. And it's the same thing here, that if you risk playing as a solo against only duos, like in the classic way, you now also get a bonus of 100 per token. So if you manage to kind of like fight your way through the other duos, kind of like trick them all out, kill them, or take the bounty from them, that's going to be much more of an achievement, obviously, than if you're a duo. So that alone will already give you per token. Obviously, if it's a solo boss only, you will only get one token you can extract, right? At least that token is now a lot more valuable than before. And now we've taken that concept of the underdog bonus and extended that basically to all of the other constellations, so that if you are playing as a solo and you allow teams of 3, so you could come up against teams of 3s, you get even like a bonus of 200 per token. So it obviously becomes a lot more rewarding, or potentially rewarding, also more risky for you. So it's basically down to you as a player to choose how much you want to risk and escalate, but it's not automatically necessarily a bad thing as a solo to go up against, let's say, possibly trios. Yeah. It's a challenge, and the challenge is being rewarded if you're successful to compensate for it, but it's still something we encourage. And some players, like I know a couple of streamers who will be very happy right now because they can go hunt trios alone, that they can actually do that and show off how awesome they are.
Yeah.
And the same is true if you're a duo and you want to play with trios, or want to allow other teams of 3s, basically, that you would also get at least a minor bonus of 75 per token. So technically, you as a duo, being a bit of an underdog, have a much higher reward chance in the trio scenario than you would in a normal way, but obviously it's a bit more risky. So that's how we try to kind of balance the whole thing, so that people can kind of opt into how much they want to do. Obviously, technically
it's an opt-out.
Technically, it's an opt-out, so the tick box will be set by default. But you can always choose between missions, etc., like what you like, how you prefer. Like depending if your best mate is there and you wanna like go hunt trios as a duo, then maybe you tick the box. If you're just playing solo and you want to take it easy, maybe you untick the box and you just prefer just only going up against maximum of duos.
Yeah. So there are a few questions that I just want to address that I already saw. The teams, or like the total players in a match, will be 12.
Yes.
So that means it's the same. It works the same as 10. There's no such thing as like if there's 10 players on the map, that it can be only 5 teams of 2. I mean, only 5 of 1. It's not that one person accounts for a whole team. So it's like up to 12 players consisting of either like solos, duos, or trios.
Absolutely.
And the 12 players will also count in quick play.
Yes.
And they will also count in matches that do not have 3 players. So it's an up by 2.
12 is the new 10.
Yeah, 12 is the new 10. And let me see, what other question? I'm trying to remember because like I was listening to or like watching it. And I think that is mainly the questions that most people ask for now.
Yeah, we can always go back and answer questions.
Exactly.
We do a bit of a Q&A in a couple minutes anyways. Then if you can go please to the next slide. So there's also the rule of 2. We've explained it in a couple of previous streams. We're going to recap it quickly what that means. The rule of 2 is a universal rule that we try to have in Hunt so far. That was also tailored towards the duo max team sizes. And that means basically an ammo box gives you 2 charges. As a player, you can only ever pick one from the same box, but there's 2 charges so that a team doesn't have to compete Like there's one for every player in there. The same goes for looting. The same goes for bounty tokens, etc. And the rule of 2 is something which we want to stick to, even with now the game allowing teams of 3s. Now, this is also important for us because it basically gives us a chance to put a balancing factor in. And the balancing factor is that as a trio, you might have more firepower, you might have higher chance of revives, etc. I mean, it's one more man in the team. You also at least have the same maximum you can take out of a mission. So only if you've killed a boss as a trio, only 2 people can pick up tokens because there are only 2 tokens, which means there's a third guy in the team without the token. But obviously, if all 3 extract at the same time, they all 3 get what the other guys have, which means the total value is still the same. So the guy without the token doesn't go empty.
So what about if you're playing with a team of 3, the 2 people have the bounty, but one person dies and they can't get revived anymore?
Yeah, in this case, that person is dead. And just like in the current game mode, that person can't make any profit. So in this case...
But do they still get like the bonus for extracting together?
No, because they are not at the extraction point in this case. So it's the same thing as it is right now in the game. It's just extended to trios. For the rule of 2, basically what it means then is that while you are more powerful, as on paper at least, as a trio, you also have a much stronger requirement for good coordination. So we've seen it in our internal playtesting so far that like what looked like a very strong and powerful trio, like kind of like owning the map, actually was taken apart by a solo or duo teams, just because those other underdog teams were coordinating so much better, and the trio was kind of like expecting that the other guy would take care of this angle or do what a certain thing, and there's a lot more talking, a lot more coordination required, and even like having the new tactical ping feature in the game, it still is a challenge for a trio to kind of like make the best out of the situation and coordinate and get all the angles covered, etc. So it doesn't come as a natural that the trio is dominating, and also like with ammunition, etc. You kind of need to know, at least talk a little bit more about who actually of the team needs the ammunition if you go to supply point, etc. So you need to coordinate a lot more. If you do that successfully, of course, you will be very, very powerful. But that's an additional burden.
Have we actually properly mentioned? So like at the moment, trios will be invite only.
Yes.
So you can only play with friends that you previously invited.
That's an important point. So this is the starting point for us. We wanna see how the trios work. Obviously, this is a feature that will have to evolve probably over some time. Because it's kind of new, we have to see how people are using it. Just like with quick play or with other things we introduce in the game, it's a living product, and it's something which have to be iterated on and has to grow. The starting point is invite only trios. What we want to extend to, but this is something which will happen in the post 1.0 release window, is to also allow random trios. So that like basically you can just say like, hey, I want to find some random partners, fill up my team with trios, and it looks for other people who want to do the same. This is not going to be the case for 1.0. It's going to be invite only for that as a first step.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we can go to the next slide then, or do you still want to add something?
I think that is the core of it.
So yeah, UI 2.0. Let's talk a little bit about that before we're going to go to Q&A, before we go to the computer to show you UI 2.0. So maybe you can already give a little introduction.
Yeah, sure. So we come up with the UI 2.0 for the main reason because the old one, which is live now, was primarily developed for PC.
Yeah.
And also we put in a lot of features with short notice, which don't have an UX path. Due lack of resources and time, but we want to give it to the community anyway, so we put it in, and now since we have more or less all the features settled down, we overhaul the whole thing and start from beginning with having everything in mind to make the experience really good for the players.
Is the stream lagging?
We're not dropping frames, but the camera's freezing every couple of seconds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I see it. Yeah, weird.
But it said like 0 drop frames.
Okay, that's really weird.
So OBS is having a time.
I mean, we're not moving at all. We're just sitting still.
Yeah, there's.
But you can hear us fine, right?
Audio is fine.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep talking, and then
And nobody will split.
we're gonna go. I don't know if restarting it will do much for it, but
I mean, as long as the audio is working, it's fine.
Yeah. The slides work, the audio is working.
We just put on our best smiling faces and just keep them like that.
Exactly. We're talking like this.
Another feature, what is really important is that we developed everything so that it's also working much better on consoles or on PC with controller.
Yeah.
So this would be we created a hybrid with working on PC and consoles pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's trying to marry basically like the best of both worlds, right? On one hand, you want to make sure that the whole thing is working very well with controller. On the other hand, also like we knew that the old UI didn't have all of the little like elegant UX like features in that we really wanted, and now with the new UI, it's a lot more elegant, it's more smoother, it's a lot nicer. So it's actually pretty slick to use the system. But we show you that in a couple minutes when we may actually go to software.
Exactly. I like how someone says, "Mac, you ruined it." How? What did I do? I'm just sitting here on the couch. I can't do anything. Yeah, it is a bit like it. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't me. But yeah, let's just go to what you can do is maybe reconnect the video source in the couch screen. And then it's like webcam, properties. Deactivate and activate. Scary times.
That looks fast.
Yeah, we're moving. We fixed it. Woohoo! Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's just move to the next slide then and already start a Q&A for. Oh no! Wait.
We have some more
I thought we
points.
had my brain is not working.
I mean, so basically, so what Carsten already said is like a big point for us, obviously, with the new UI is that we can use that to improve the usability, like the user experience or the UX, we call it, which is just the most important part of what you do with this thing is just like going through different actions over and over again between missions. So you want to make sure this is as smooth as possible. Then the other thing is the feature overload. Obviously, lots of additional features have been added, and we'll continue adding more features. So we need to make sure that this framework, this UI skeleton that we have actually can hold all of these features.
Yeah, so we make it more scalable for new features.
Will be easier to integrate new stuff. It's better to navigate, and it's not so much patchwork, but actually now works as a proper framework for future development.
Yeah, and especially like the console friendly, because it's something that we heard from the console users or players quite a lot actually, that they were like, oh yeah, but why am I still using a cursor? Well, this is because we now have specifically for both console and PC in mind are we frozen again?
No, it's all fine.
We dropped maybe like 2 frames then, but
No, I'm moving pretty fast. Okay. But yeah, console friendly, which is also really good. But I think we'll just go to Q&A then.
There's one more even.
It's really? Oh wow, my brain.
You made the presentation.
It's because I'm frozen. It was a sad day today. It was not a happy day.
So the 2 important loops, that's what I basically tried to say like a minute ago. There's 2 things you do over and over again in the game. One is actually to recruit, equip, and retire. Well, if you get lucky, you retire. Otherwise, you have to just like attend a funeral. Which is basically an important part about restocking between missions, finding a new hunter. If the hunter is maybe above a certain level, you want to retire him, etc. Get a new hunter. Like that loop needs to be rock solid. That's what you do a lot in the game, and it wasn't in the old UI. It is not currently on live. With the new UI, it will be. We'll show you in a second. I promise, it's awesome. The second loop is the invite, play, and reward loop. It's basically how you invite your friends, what missions to select, etc. See their equipment, prepare basically for like, okay, you bring a shotgun, I bring a rifle, then go into the mission, load in, etc.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 main loops we have in the game that we want to be have basically the best and smoothest experience. So this has been our focus for the new UI work. So there's still a couple of things we're ironing out. The UI is not yet fully implemented, so we're still working on some of the secondary and tertiary menus, sub-menus, etc. But those 2 loops, they were the most important ones, and that's what we've been focusing on. And we will see in a minute, just like where you see the biggest gains.
And I do want to add, because I know quite a lot of people asked to stay in a party. This is not in yet, but we do want to maybe potentially get this in the future.
For the future, this is actually something on the list.
It is just not something that is as easy, but that's why we want to make the experience as smooth as possible.
Okay. It's all about picking your battles, and the moment like these 2 loops are just the bread and butter of what you do in the game, and they have to be rock solid, and then we start layering additional things around that.
Exactly. But yeah, we obviously take all the feedback, but we can only do so much at a time. But yeah, then...
That's sure.
I think there might be a Q&A now.
Was that like the slides? Are we done?
Oh, Q&A.
Q&A? Oh my god, I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. So yeah, Q&A. I saw a question. 2 questions already.
Yeah. Let's just before we start, let's focus this Q&A primarily around the teams of 3.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure we answer a lot of the questions when we go to the practical part about the actual UI.
Exactly. So, 2 things. Yes, you can pick up the bounty from if your partner died. You can obviously pick it up if you don't have a bounty yourself.
If he's dead.
Exactly.
Yeah. Otherwise, you revive him.
2, the question was, but what about the lightning when 2 people have the bounty? What about a team of 3?
Well, there's 2 people who have the bounty will have lightning. The 3rd guy's invisible. But you can do that basically right now. So you could choose at the moment as a duo, only pick up 1 bounty piece, because maybe there was a solo trying to escape, ran into you, killed them, then one of you guys is carrying the bounty, the other one is not. The same you could also intentionally choose to do, like leave one behind maybe as a diversion in order to have a better escape.
Would that then not be an advantage? Because in general you can already you will already pick up them, because like if you were 2 and you don't pick 1 up, it's a tactical choice perhaps.
In this particular case, the problem is the
3s,
exploitation. So if you would put 3 bounty tokens out, then basically you give the teams of 3 like 50% more of profit they could take out of a mission, which basically makes this like the best choice ever. So for us, it's important to find a balance. To on one hand, allow people in trios to kind of engage with other players, be in the mission, but not have such a huge power gain compared to the other teams and profit potentially that it just becomes like totally basically a null choice, a non-choice to go in without like having 2 additional partners.
Exactly. Okay, 2. First of all, will this split the queues? So because we have an opt-out, the queues, we try to keep them obviously as close together, so we don't have it as a completely separate mode.
Yes.
So people can still play with trios if they decide to not opt out. So by default, you're opt in to play with trios and duos as a solo or as a duo. But if you don't want to, you don't. So it will be to, minimize the different queues as much as possible.
It's also the point, I mean, so we've seen this feedback in the past, like people asking like, hey, when can we get like duo, like it's trios and even bigger team sizes? Like, so I want to play with more than 1 friend. And what we are doing with this change obviously is also opening up the game to more people who would have liked to play the game, but really didn't like just being able to play with 1 friend online, etc. So now we're opening up, hopefully, and also that will draw additional people in. So at the moment, we're not really worried about queuing times, etc., because as we're nearing the 1.0 release, like that's going to be a big step forward anyways. And we hope that the additional like matchmaking queuing separation that will happen, obviously, because you might queue sometimes for duos, sometimes for trios, is offset by the fact that we also just pull a lot more people into the game that normally would have just like skipped it because they didn't like only playing with duos.
Exactly. So a duo cannot search for a random 3rd player. At the moment, trios is invite only.
Yes, for 1.0 in the beginning.
Exactly. I saw some interesting point. Will the boss health or anything increase with teams of 3?
Not specifically, but we're currently doing also the balancing pass in general. So we've talked about it in one of the previous streams that we have kind of added like the aggro modes to the spider, and we have updated the assassin a little bit and the witcher. So the bosses are being normalized, and that will also include how they behave against teams of 3. There's not going to be major changes to that because the boss isn't really the main gamekeeper here. The boss is basically just something that holds you from the actual showdown, which is happening when the other players arrive, etc. So the boss is more of a gatekeeper, and at the moment you can, if you're clever, you can as a solo go in with a big dynamite bundle. If you time it well, you can insta kill the boss, or if you find a melee weapon, maybe you can try to do it even silently. It takes some time, but right, it's possible, and that wouldn't change drastically with a trio anyway. like trios actually benefit probably most from one person of the team maybe sitting outside, staying actually outside of the arena and covering, giving them information, etc. So that's something that will maybe like shift the way bounty attacks, like attacks on the compounds, will be dealt with, because there's always the opportunity that there's one more player around. And also, obviously, a trio can more effectively lock down a play. So it kind of works both directions, right? Like in terms of making sure that there's one player towards every possible exit, so that they can't really just leave easily. But that's something which will be very, very curious, because obviously we have been doing like local playtesting within the company with this feature, and it's shown like it's very, very promising, has lots of fun, really cool moments we have, like a lot of fun people had that they didn't experience so far with just the duos. But obviously, going on test server eventually with this will show us so much more, allows us to to gather data, etc., do more testing and iterations and adjust whatever we think needs to be adjusted.
Exactly. Someone asked if we will have the same outlines for trios as we have duos. I mean,
so we do actually. Yes, Carsten, you want to talk about that?
I know.
Okay, then I will talk about it.
I know.
It's basically, so we have the same outline. So same blue outline, but we do have an overhead icon. So basically we have like you might have seen it maybe on the reveal trailer already. I think on some of the shots we saw these.
Yeah.
So it's a little dot. So basically, as you invite your friends, the game will assign each of you a number. So one of you will be 1, 2, 3. And that's going to be consistent across all clients, so that you can start using that to reference, like who was Janneke? Oh, that's number 2 is Janneke, and Carsten is number 3, so I'm number 1. So when you basically run around, you see these overhead icons, and therefore you can kind of make the connection. If you didn't memorize, for example, the outfits, which you'll also see in a minute actually in the lobby, you will be able at least to see that these guys are doing that, like who's who and how they're moving around. So that should make it very visible and clearly understandable who is your like teammate and who to address, to maybe to cover the door or pick up the bounty or do whatever.
Exactly. Will this change something to the spawn points?
So there is some changes to the spawn points, but we're not going to talk about them today. But technically, actually, what it does is, I mean, with 12 players on the map, and like if more people are in a team, that means there's going to be possibly, depending on the matchmaking of this particular session, there could be fewer teams present because there's more players in each of the teams, even by going to 12 players, right? It can still mean that there's like 4 teams of 3 if enough people queue for that. So that means systemically, automatically, there might be bigger gaps between the spawns. But we're going to talk about how the spawning has been improved for 1.0 in one of the next streams.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah. We're going to show the new UI after the Q&A. We're going to do a quick be right back. We're going to look at the trailer again, and then we're going to do a Q&A. We're going to look at the wow. We're going to look at the UI. That's it. Let me see if there's any more questions in relation to the teams of 3.
This also, I mean, we'll probably do a second Q&A after we've shown you guys the UI. So if you have any further questions, just hold on to them as well. I'm pretty sure we're going to address them afterwards as well.
We need Italian coffee. I mean, you can come bring me coffee because our coffee machine is dead. Let me see. Why not 5 teams of 3?
Well, because it would kind of increase the number of total players, right?
Exactly. I mean, I did hear people asking, why not 15? Why 12?
What the thing is that we also have AI in the game, right? And the server performance is a thing. We want to make sure people don't have laggy servers, people don't have like any frame issues, etc. So by increasing this like from 10 to 12, it's basically enough to allow more than 3 teams of 3, which would have been important, because like with 10 players, you would have had 3 teams of 3, maybe a solo in a session. And as you know from experience, if there are not that many teams, the whole thing becomes rather predictable, right? So we want to make sure that there is as large as possible a variety of different teams. And with 12, we can have at least 4 teams of 3 as an extreme case for that scenario. Most of the time, it's going to be a mix between solos, duos, and trios. But pushing this further than 12 at the moment with having AI on the map, etc., just puts a lot of strain on the server. So we're happy that we are actually able to do this. Like for a very long time, we weren't able to even go to 12 players. So only because of the optimizations we've been doing, partially also the benefit of the Xbox development we've been doing, like we've been able to kind of like squeeze out more performance, make things more optimized, and that allowed us to push to 12 now, and then opening up the option for the teams of threes.
Exactly. One team of 12. Yes, everyone will have 12 players. Like every match or server can have up to 12 players. So quick play can have 12 players instead of 10.
Yep.
Do those numbers affect the depth of players and the revive system? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that.
I mean, systemically, everything is unchanged, right? Like, so
it stays.
Both teammates can revive anyone who is downed. If you get downed, you still lose your health chunk. So there's a finite amount of revives. Obviously, nothing changed, but actually having like another hunter in the team means there's a higher chance for revives. Two guys get downed, well, there's a chance for the third guy to come by.
Yeah. I think most questions are actually clear now about the teams of three. At the moment, I see nothing specific. Yeah, I think so.
Again, for those people who might have not been here in the beginning, like, I mean, it's basically the option for you to play teams of three. Like, you don't have to play teams of three. You can actually...
I'm so blessed.
You can just choose if you want to allow teams of three in the queuing. If you want to play the game as you know it, with just duos being the maximum, it's just a tick box away. You just need to check it, basically uncheck the allow teams of three button, and then you'll be queuing just like before. With one difference, which as I mentioned before, like a solo player in that circumstance actually also gets a bonus already, more so than they do right now on live.
Okay. I mean, I would say just let's go to the Be Right Back screen. We're gonna go then and show the new UI because I think a lot of people are excited.
Yeah, let's show it in software.
Okay. Let's see.
sinners, have you washed in the blood? Oh, temptation will lead you astray. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots. Today's the day. Oh, sinners, have you slaughtered the lamb? Oh, sinners, have you slaughtered the lamb? It's eternal damnation, lest you wash in the blood. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots. The time has come. This prison's on fire, and I lit the match. 'Cause we all want our freedom, not just to break stone. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, send them home. I'll be a sinner all of my days. I'll be a sinner all of my days. I ain't waiting for Jesus, he's left us alone. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, the seed's been sown. You sit with me, sir, you might learn to survive. Keep that gun loaded, you'll be mine. 'Cause these devils among us are out for our souls. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, we ain't fighting alone. Get your gun, get your knife, lace your boots, we ain't fighting alone.
Right.
Hello. We are back. But you can't see us because we don't want to block the UI today. So we're going to be here.
Hello.
Well, we talk about the new UI. I hope everyone can hear us properly. I'm sorry for cutting the song. I thought it was like almost done. I was missing 5 seconds, but forgive me. New UI.
Yes, so this is the practical part now. Obviously, we're going to show this directly in live software here. So let's see what works. What could go wrong? Now, we're going to start basically going through the menu step by step, explain a little bit along the way how this whole thing works, what we thought about it, etc. So I'm going to use the little mouse cursor to kind of indicate a little bit what we're talking about. And we're going to show this both with mouse keyboard, and also we're going to show this a little bit with a controller afterwards.
Jawohl.
All right, so Carsten, want to start about the lobby?
Yeah. So what you see is a new lobby where you start up with. You will meet and invite your team here. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to.
So we can do it right now. Actually, yeah, let's invite 2 people and see how that looks up if you start building up a team here. So
Let's try it.
First friend invite. I'm gonna invite this nice gentleman here. Or is it a gentleman? We don't know.
Who knows?
And there we go. So that's our first friend we have in there. What you see now is actually like the equipment they bring, etc. Nice poses. You can even go inspect it in detail. So you see like what like prestige they have, for example, or in general like how they're doing. And now we're not content with just one partner. We want like a full posse here. So we're gonna we're gonna invite another one. So I think we invited 13. So we're gonna invite 14 now. So now we got our 3 players together. So what we can see here again is like, okay, what equipment did they bring? It seems to be a threat person, could be me. And what we can do from that is basically basically like leave the session again, change the things around, etc. We can coordinate now what type of equipment we want to bring, and because this is the new lobby screen, we can do basically everything else also from this screen when it comes to getting into the game playing. So you see already like a ready button here. But before we press that, maybe the other 2 hunters can already start readying up, and then it's basically down to us. When they do, basically you will see like a little indicator that they are ready to play. It might take a moment until they get the message, because I think there we go. First one, hand demo 14 is already accepted and it's ready to play. And now the second one also. So basically we see 2 of our friends are now ready to play, and it's down to us to press the button. But before we do, we actually want to have a look what we are going to play. So obviously we're in the bounty hunt lobby right now here. And what we can do here on the right side is actually go change the mission.
Exactly. So we have a standard random contract always selected as default, so that when you want to play a really quick round, you can start the game, press play, and go directly into the game. If you want to change the mission, you can use the contract on the top, or you click on the contract and change it directly.
Yeah. So we can basically click here and then go directly to the contracts menu, or if you go back to the lobby, just clicking in here does the same thing, and you can change it here, see what it means, etc. Like in a random mission, you get your bonus just being listed in here. The moment you change the mission again to a different one, obviously the actual contract doesn't display anymore if you don't have a random mission. Now, so obviously because we changed the mission, our partners have unreadied, so they will need to ready up again, as is normal. Like you want to know when things happen, so you don't get dragged into the wrong mission, as this is at the moment. And oh look, the first guy started. And yeah, what's also nice here is to basically check out one thing, which is the allow to teams of 3 button. So in order to show this a little bit better, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually kick the people again, because I don't want to play with them. I mean, if we would ready up now, again, matchmaking starts, and then we would be in the mission. We're not going to play right now, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the group, and then I'm going to send an invite to just one of the guys. So I just invite one friend. So just one of them here is one. And as you can see already here, as I'm a solo still, there's an underdog bonus of plus 200, because I have the teams of 3 ticked, which means I would be able to play with teams of 3 as a solo, and then I get a bonus of 200 per bounty token. And the moment my friend has joined in here, obviously we are a duo now. We still allow teams of 3, so we get an underdog bonus of only 75 on the token. So this is just dynamically, and basically makes sure that you still want to maybe risk going to play and play with like only 2 players or solo against the teams of 3s and have fun.
I will not accept your friendship. Stop. I'm curious because a lot of people are asking, are we getting a chat in the lobby?
Yes, there's going to be a chat in the lobby. So at the moment, again, this is a bit work in progress still. The chat, as you know it, will be here. At the moment that there was a small bug that it doesn't get displayed all the time, but it would be at this normal position, so you can just chat with your friends as normal. Now, in this case, again, I'm gonna leave the group, so we are solo again. And here what you can see is that, again, the bonus changed again to plus 200. Now, if I untick the teams of 3, you can see it directly changes to 100 only. So this is if I would go up against duos now, I get, compared to what is currently on live, because what is in 6.2, in 1.0, I will get an additional bonus of 100. So keep in mind, we already also have the kill bonus for if you solo kill a boss, which is also 100. But in this particular case here, you get like one on top. So it makes it a bit more interesting for solos to kind of try to compete, because obviously they're more likely to get killed and slaughtered by experienced teams. But there's a chance if they want to risk it, and there's also a reward if they succeed. So yeah, this is basically our new lobby, and I think it looks pretty fucking awesome.
I think we can just spoiler what it looks when you are using a controller. So you can see in the very bottom we have the controller hands. So you have shortcuts for inviting a friend or a random partner, where you can use it really quickly.
I mean, obviously, yeah, it's because it's Steam. It's different.
What? There's no...
Wait, do we invite a random person?
No, I canceled.
Okay.
I canceled that.
So you can also...
I just accepted all the friend requests.
Yeah.
You can also toggle the teams of 3.
Yeah.
really quickly. And
I think the interesting part is on the top, like if you start navigating through this, as you can see, we have 2 lines for navigation. We have the main area, so the lobby, bloodline, and the roster. I'm going to quickly do this with the mouse, so like this top line here. And then we have the sub tabs, basically. So inside the lobby, we have bounty and we have quick play, contracts, etc. We're going to go through most of those in a minute. Just if you then go back to the controller, Carsten, if you just enable it again, you see like how you can use the triggers and the shoulder buttons to kind of quickly navigate between that. So if you want, just to quickly just navigate a bit.
so you can use the sub navigation with the triggers and using the shoulder buttons for the main points.
So yeah, like important for us, both the mouse keyboard as well as the controller input for the new UI have to be on the equal like priority list. So they were both very important. And I think we've come like to a very good compromise here that it works both for PC and console. All right, so I'm going to stick with the lobby screen for a bit and go through the different other ones in there. So we have, for example, our quick play here. So quick play hasn't really changed much. It has not been the priority for us in this particular one. It was more important to get the support for the teams of 3 in Bounty Hunt. But everything you know here is the same, and you can kind of start directly quick play from here. You get the overview of what the mode is about as before. Same as in Bounty Hunt. You can see like, okay, what is it you're actually doing here? You can always change your region and therefore, customize the game to your likes. Again, same outfit selection, etc.
Shall I quickly see if I can turn it off? Because I had it turned off last time, but people keep adding me all the time.
You remember in the 90s, like when all the people had to text like the TV stations, and they would get like the little messages displayed for it. Was it like 50 cents or something?
I should get paid for this. Yeah, we should get money for this. The weird thing is I had them eared. Like, that's the thing. It's all off. You can't turn off the
just put yourself in like a do not disturb mode.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh wait, invisible.
No, do not disturb. And that might have already snoozed them.
But yeah, well, I'll find out who it was. You will get punished.
All right, so yeah, quick play, no big surprises here. The same as before.
Same for the controller. We have D-pad up, D-pad down for changing the outfit, so you can toggle really quickly and also change the gear by using D-pad right and left.
Yeah, so no manual moving of the cursor around.
Exactly.
For all the Xbox people, I think this is probably the best news of the day.
Yeah. I mean, you still can do it. You can use the buttons by moving it and pressing A. This is also working.
Yeah. Then we've already seen the contract screen. And moving forward from that, we have the challenges screen. So in this one, we show you the daily challenge and the weekly challenge. And interesting point here is like we've kind of done something to the challenges. I think we mentioned this a little bit already in the Big Dev stream, like a couple streams back when we talked about like the gazillion of feature changes and new additions to the game. What we've been doing is that the daily challenges are more easier to obtain. So they're more just like things that kind of like give you a quick thing on the tick box. They're not like big challenges like kill 3 assassins in one day.
I love how someone is like, only one hive, finally can you do the quest?
Yeah, see, finally you can do daily challenges. And then obviously we kind of scale the rewards with that a little bit as well. So you get a little bit less for the daily challenges, but they're also much easier to do. So it's something to always come back to and just like have like this additional thing you want to tick today in order to pick up your daily reward. And then we've also done changes to the weekly challenges. So like they have obviously remained a bit more complex, right? You need to work a little bit more to do it. I mean, kill 25 hellhounds with melee, isn't it like the most challenging thing? I think people who kind of played the game for a couple of hours know how to deal with that, but still it's going to be a bit more effort. And then once per week, if you complete the weekly challenge, you can that way get additional blood bonds. And the blood bonds, as we've introduced in the previous stream, is the new premium currency we use for cosmetics, etc. So you can kind of use that to kind of work your way towards maybe the next unlock you can get by just playing the game. We also have the last match screen. This is something we're still working on a little bit.
It's still a work in progress. There will be more stats displayed here. And also you will see which last partners was you played with.
Yeah.
And you can invite them here.
Yeah. So we might show this maybe in a later stream, or you will just be able to see the final version of this one on the test server eventually.
And would this be, is this like the first alteration on how much stats we want to show eventually?
There's even more stats, so we get to that once we go to the Bloodline screen. Be right there. Okay, so we basically have looked at all the tabs of the lobby right now, so we can, I think, move on to the Bloodline.
Let's do it.
All right, so this is the new Bloodline screen. Bloodline is basically about progression, about stats, and about unlocks. So you kind of understand what you do. We kind of repeat the daily challenges here, obviously, so you kind of see your progress in terms of what you're doing. And this is also the point where you will be able to prestige. We can show you that actually in a minute, but we'll hold on to it for a little bit longer. And then we have our statistics screen here. We have additional assists added. We have additional, for example, for triple catch, before we only had like on a contract, Grand Slam, and running gauntlet. So a couple of stats have been added to this one. And they're obviously different between Bounty Hunt and Quick Play. And they have their own KDs, as you know already from the current menu, just in a better, nicely organized way.
People are asking, where's the blood?
And then the last point here is the rank unlocks, and this is basically the rank unlocks. And what that means, if you've paid attention to the previous streams, is that certain unlocks are no longer rank gated right now. They will be gated to progress in the library. And that's something we're going to talk about in a minute as we get closer to the store and the library parts of this menu here. But at the moment, basically what rank unlock shows you is just guaranteed unlocks whenever you rank up. So rank 1 obviously is the stuff that you will have in the beginning. A bit of a hint here already for some people, how maybe things have changed a little bit, what weapons and what type of things you get. We can talk about this a little bit later. If you have any questions, ask them later. Maybe a few of them we can answer as well.
I see a lot of people already like, oh my god, the damage scales.
Everything is different. We talk about the stats in a second as well, but we do that in the roster. So here you kind of see how things kind of unlock, etc. Then as we go to the roster is basically where you keep your hunters, right? So this is our new roster screen. Everything is a bit reorganized, a bit nicer, and I think we're going to spend the next couple minutes on that screen and the subscreens, because this is actually one of the really cool changes we've been doing about how you kind of use the screen, how you interact with it, and everything is a bit more nicer to kind of like equip your hunter and recruit the hunters with. Yep. All right, so maybe Carsten, you want to start by going through some of the elements?
Yeah, we can start on the top left. So the hunter slots. Recruiting a hunter is now directly linked to the empty next button. We have redesigned the button a bit, which gives you better progress view. You will see the max level for the hunters, which is new. And you can see the empty slots you have in general, in total.
Yeah. So by default, we have the 5 slots as normal. And then you can also use the premium currency, like the blood bonds, in order to unlock additional slots up to a maximum of 10.
Yeah.
So this is for convenience, basically. If you want to have like more hunters, then you can use that. But I mean, you get the 5 as normal as before. We're not taking anything away from you.
Exactly.
We also in this option obviously have the chance still to like kind of like zoom in and look at your guy a little bit. We have the traits now on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So everything's a bit more organized. There's like some of the new traits we talked about in the last stream, like Dauntless, for example, which is really nice. If someone throws dynamite at you and you have this trait, you go and you press the button at the right time.
I'm very curious to see how many times I will go right. I will definitely not try it because I will die.
Yeah, so maybe we want to first off just maybe recruit a hunter, and then we equip him a little bit, just make this a very practical experience for you guys, so you can kind of see what the advantages of the new UI are here. So let's just recruit a hunter. I mean, this screen you kind of know a little bit already. It looks very similar.
Yep, it's just a little bit tweaked, so you can literally see what is a free one, the free version. We have redesigned the order of the items a little bit. They're a bit smaller, so you can see more of the hunter. If it's this not enough for you to see the current hunter, we added a feature so you can toggle the details on and off with a button on the bottom left.
Yay, you can finally see them.
You can finally see the whole hunter. And you can toggle it on again, so you have the possibility to enjoy.
So basically what we see, exactly what we see here is, I mean, nothing really new. Obviously, you still have your weapons, you have the traits, equipment, etc. You kind of see the names, and obviously every time you play around, you can get 1 free reshuffle. We've already used it on this screen, so that's why it shows you the extra reshuffle. So if you want, you can just extra reshuffle in order to get like another random selection of hunters. But by default, if you play a mission, even if you died, you get your free reshuffle left before.
Can we get the right one for sure? I want her.
You want to recruit her?
We should get to Reese.
Absolutely. So details again, so you can kind of see like the hunters. So Therese Ingebresten. Therese Ingebresten. She's probably Swedish or something, or Nordic at least. All right, so let's recruit her. All right, that's our tier 3 Huntress. Now, what does she come with? She has a large slot, so actually you can kind of see like that we have the little slot indication now. You kind of see like what is a large slot, a medium slot, and a small slot. Now, I guess we changed some equipment, I guess, huh?
We changed some equipment.
Yeah, so just clicking on the weapon, I mean, you kind of see it kind of moved us to the next sub point here. So if you just go back to we're here, but if you click on it, it just moves you one there. You can also easily just like click in like somewhere outside and just close it again. So it feels as if it's basically just layered on top, but you're actually moving between the sub points here, the sub tabs. So back to equipment, and what we see here is our new equipment backlist.
Exactly. So we decided to make the 3D icons bigger, remove the 2D ones from the list, so you don't have to go to every single item to see how it looks. I think that's a good advantage.
Yeah. What's really cool here is like, so we've kind of like in a consistent way like updated all the stats. So what you can see here, for example, is that we now display the true damage value of a shot that hits a hunter in the upper torso at 10 meters. So what you see here is actually damage. So if you, let's see if we have one actually. Maybe we have a sparks here. Yep, there's a sparks. So on the sparks, it shows you 149, which is exactly the damage it does. As you guys know, like you can survive with 1 hit point in typical combat situations if you hit the upper chest, and that gives people like a lot more knowledge about like how much true damage do the weapons do by having this reference point. We also show you the effective range. So for firearms, this is the range in meters that a weapon will kill a hunter in 1 hit. Usually that is a headshot, but some weapons are so powerful, obviously they do that also with a chest still. So we've kind of limited the effective maximum range for headshots to 250 meters for balancing reasons, and that means even like a sniper rifle beyond 250 meters will not kill you in 1 headshot. But obviously it's still going to do massive damage to you. Now, if you take maybe some of the weapons which are not so like effective at distance, let's take the Colby conversion pistol. What we see here is the effective range is 65 meters, which is coincidentally the headshot distance. So at this distance, you can do a 1-hit kill with this weapon by shooting someone in the face. So this is again is very, very important information for players, because it allows you to understand like at what distance you kind of save from a certain weapon, if you need to get closer, etc. It gives you a bit better understanding. Obviously for shotguns it's not as clear because they have a spread, so we kind of used a bit more abstract values here. So like the base weapon here in this case is 10 meters, but with the random nature of the spread, this can kind of like change a little bit, obviously depending how the pellets have been dispersed. Next we have the rate of fire, which is 2 rounds per minute. So it's basically how many shots can be fired per minute, and that takes into account the preparation, and it does not take into account delays from reloading, for example. So it's a theoretical rate of fire, so that if you were to not have to bother about it with reloading, it's really just mostly about like pulling back the hammer, etc. Then adding that together with the shots is the time you take the rate of fire.
I already see a lot of people, what does this price changes?
Yeah, the price changes is a very, very nice point as well. I mean, we've kind of rebalanced the entire economy. So many of the changes you will see is actually things becoming cheaper, things becoming more expensive. And it comes down to not only telemetry and data, but also the overall balance. So it's something that we can show a few examples of, but obviously you will get the full picture in the changelog once this goes in test server. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of blowing the scope of this stream today. To basically go through every single change. So you pick up a few changes here and there, but don't worry, from a balancing point of view, actually the whole thing hasn't really become more expensive. It's just a distribution between different weapons has kind of been shifted. So some have become cheaper, some have become more expensive based on use, based on firepower, and also obviously based on additional changes that come with 1.0 to maybe make these weapons better weapons than you might at the moment see them at.
Exactly. And I mean, I just want to point out, because I see some things like favoriting and searching for a specific weapon.
Yes, so the filter options, this top bar here, actually is very, very useful. So on PC, we have the feature that you can kind of like type a text in there, like Nag for Nagant, and it shows you which of the Nagant weapons you have at the moment. So you own like 1 Mosin Nagant, you could buy a Mosin 8095, you have 1 officer, and you have 1 precision currently. That is a feature, obviously, requires a keyboard, so this is going to be a PC feature.
Yep.
So on console, we don't have that. In addition to that, we have filters for the different slots. So at the moment, obviously, it shows you for the large slot you have here, three dots, right? It shows you every option you have of the weapons you currently own, or the weapons you could currently buy because you have them unlocked. One example here in the list is, for example, that the Winfield C obviously is ready to be purchased. Like you could buy this right now because you have it. It's a rank 1 weapon. But the Vetterli 71 Carabiner Deadeye actually is a variant. And you might have the base weapon from a rank unlock. You see on the left side, you can buy the normal Vetterli, but you cannot buy this one yet because this is still locked from the library perspective. So what it means is basically that this is in the list because you own one version. You might have gotten it from for example, a daily reward, right?
Or a person.
Or like a recruited a hunter with it, etc., and then put it in the arsenal. And then obviously it's ready for you to be put in there, but you won't be able to buy additional ones right now because it's still locked for you. We talk about a little bit more about that part when we go to the store in a minute. Now, what we can do here is I can say, like, please only show me the small slot weapons I currently have. So right now, even though it's a large slot, we can filter this. So if I definitely want to put a pistol in here, I can quickly just filter this, and it shows me the compatible weapons. Or show me only the medium ones, like because maybe I have quartermaster, or maybe I want to go with a 2 medium weapon set. So it makes it a bit more convenient and allows you to kind of like filter things out a little bit. It also gives you a chance to show the new weapon, so we don't have a new one marked in here, but you would see them with a little plus as you see with upgrades here. So you can understand if there's a new weapon you've unlocked or something new can become available, that you can look for that specifically. And on top of that, you can also set them as favorites and then specifically filter for the favorites in your list. So make it easier to come back to the weapons you buy, for example, most of the time.
Yeah. I use this feature a lot. Additional to that, you can also filter by ammunition type. So you can look for weapons which is using a compact, medium, whatever.
Shot shells,
Looking
for example, yeah. In addition, like obviously like special damage types like fire damage. Obviously we don't have anything in here right now, explosive and poison. But as you get more weapons unlocked, etc., like this list will grow, obviously, and the filter options help you to kind of keep the overview.
Exactly.
Right, so in addition, we've also upgraded a little bit the different descriptions for specific weapon types. So this is an important point we talk about in a little bit in a future stream, and we kind of mentioned already a little bit with the wall penetration changes. But we kind of have more information about, for example, the compact bullet here. So like obviously it's a basic pistol cartridge, has low penetration damage, but it clearly specifies to you what it can penetrate. So if you're looking for like what weapon can shoot through what type of obstacle, you can always refer to this thing here. And for example, let's say like here, Mosin Nagant. Look at the long bullet, and you can see like it can pierce wooden walls and small trees. It pierces thin stone walls and single metal sheets, but it cannot pierce any tall trees. So it basically means that you will have a better overview of what your weapon can and cannot do by looking at the new menu and comparing the stats, etc.
I already see so many. Oh my god, why is the nitro more expensive?
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but we have explained it about the aperture, right?
Yeah, well, the aperture is not really changed so much on that because that's the aperture side on the Winfield. But the Nitro Express is a powerful weapon. So let's first though equip some stuff here, I guess, because I think what we want to show is mainly the interface.
Yeah.
So Carsten, anything you want me to equip?
You have to choose.
Okay, then let's just strip it out first. So the good thing is I can just double click on each of the slots. I double click again on the slot and kind of equips it, unequips it. Very easy, very convenient. That allows me to quickly like say, okay, I want to have the bomb plants here. I want to have like a PAX over there. So I can very, very quickly.
Can we take a Bornheim?
We can take a Bornheim.
Yeah, nice. I like this loadout already.
there is a Bornheim right there for you.
We can't show the uppercut in this thing because we haven't unlocked it.
Yeah. But obviously, like here, because we're currently having a small slot selected, it only shows us the small slot options, right? If I were to kind of like change with the list a little bit, I will later on be able to like kind of see which isn't compatible, etc. Like so, it might be then turned red here because it doesn't fit in a specific category. We don't have any example here at the moment, so but you will see that as you go on the server. Different equipment slots. Just put this one here and maybe saber. And then the same is true, obviously, for any of the tools and the consumables. So here again, we've kind of updated the stats a little bit where needed. So we've added, for example, and everything which has like an effective radius. For example, consider trip mine. We can have this information so you can compare it. You get like the initial damage. This is like in this case the actual tick damage. So if you kind of try to move through, you get that type of damage continuously.
Stream down or?
Is the stream there?
No, it seems if you refresh, but We didn't drop any frames.
Okay. So yeah, we can kind of like equip different things here very
Maybe
easily.
because of the upgrade. Okay, let me just explain this because people are not understanding exactly what is happening with our reload or unlock system. So, unlike before, where you just level up, so being max level means you have all weapons, but you don't have that now. So if you now play, you can choose what you unlock. So you first have to play the base weapon, and then you can unlock the alternative way, like the alternative. Is that
Variants.
Variants.
The variants.
Exactly. Wow. What exactly? So yeah.
Okay, so important part here, I can just quickly go equip the hunter in the way I want. It's very elegant, very smooth. Same for explosives or consumables, like put a couple vitality shots in or whatever I want to equip. And therefore, between missions, it's so much faster, it's so much more elegant in order to just like go in, adjust, rebuy equipment and get ready, adjust something out. And before it was a bit of a pain. With this menu here, you just don't want to go back. This is so much more convenient.
We also made the icons colored now, so you can easily see the difference between the different bottles we have, or everything which is poison has a green color.
Like the poison bomb.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So, and if you close this on again, so now we have our hunter here, fully equipped, and basically could go into the
Where
mission.
did my bomb lens go? I pay attention to the stream for 1 second and they.
There you go. Have your
Yay.
bomb plans there. You also get your Bornheim again.
Yes,
Are you happy now?
I just want her to have a good loadout, okay? I'm just saying.
Okay, so in addition to that, obviously we still have our traits, and for that we're gonna take one of the hunters we've prepared for the stream for this test, who have a couple of upgrade points ready, so we can actually use them. So we have this guy here, and he currently only has 2 traits, so we want to add a couple traits. So we go to the upgrades menu, and we can do that by just basically clicking here. So what we see here is the new upgrade screen.
So here we decided to get rid of the tooltip, and again of the small buttons. We make the graphics bigger and show directly the high detailed one. Additional to that, we have the smaller version, which is also shown on the bottom bar on the top right of the button.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a directly connection and see what it means. You also can filter now for traits. You can type whatever you're looking for and you will see it. Or using one of these filter buttons.
Yeah, so we have these different categories basically. So we have offensive traits, defensive, movement related, and supportive traits. And based on that, you can kind of like get to the right traits and more easily equip them to your hunter based on that.
Yep.
Obviously, if you unlock a new one, the same thing here. So it gives you just more different options and allows you to get to the ones you want to look for and equip your hunter faster. So in this case, let's just put a couple in there. So on this guy, I think, actually, let me quickly see, what did he have? He had a hatchet and he had an again precision. So we go back to upgrades. Let's say maybe we make him a melee fighter.
Yeah.
We're going to give him like the Lightfoot trait, so vaulting and jumping, falling, climb ladders more silently, so you can kind of sneak up on people. Maybe kite skin is a good option as well, because you can drop down without taking the damage, so you get a one-hit kill by the sparks the moment you drop down. Obviously, movement-related stuff, Greyhound is going to be good, Gator Legs is good for that. And maybe on top of that, give him the Silent Killer,
yeah.
which reduces the sound you make when performing melee attacks. So, I mean, that alone from the set here gives us a pretty cool kit for melee options. So, like, he can use the Romero hatchet probably pretty effectively. Besides that, maybe we give him Vulture on top of that, so he can kind of scavenge. Maybe he's a guy that we want him to stay a bit more behind and then watch for other people to finish the fights, and you go and loot them anyways. And to not get any nasty surprises, we give him Vigilant, which allows you to basically see nearby traps in dark sides.
So curious, because people are asking, are we also going to get favorites for traits?
We do not have a favorite for trait, but we do have the filters here, so it's very, very quick to get to the ones you like. So it's not as fractured as it is, for example, for the weapons.
But is it potentially something weird?
Maybe we will do it in the future. At the moment, there's no plan for it right now. It's not a priority for us. So, I mean, people get quite a lot here. I mean, the list is kind of nice. If you look for specific ones, no one should be taking like a lot of time to find what they're looking for.
But who knows?
Who knows?
All right. So then, in addition to that, we also say maybe, you know what? Actually, Do we really want to bring Vigilant on this guy?
No, maybe not.
Maybe not. In this case, we can go to respec. So what we can do here is we can, if it's really important for us, we can say, you know what, Vigilant, I would like to remove that. You can do that. Trade is being removed. You get reimbursed with the upgrade points it cost and can use them for something else. So it gives you an option to kind of like, maybe if your recruited hunter didn't have exactly the combination you liked, that you can do that. You can kind of maximize him. Obviously, once he's dead, he's dead. So the risk is with you, and it's your choice if you want to invest him or not. All right, I think that's going to be the roster for the most part. As you can see, lots of improvements, a lot more elegant to quickly like cycle through stuff, equip the guy the way you want. But there is more. So maybe we go back to recruitment screen. We've been there before as we recruited a hunter. Let's recruit one more. But in this case, let's not recruit regular hunter. Let's maybe have a look at Soul Survivors. Haha, surprise, no one there because we haven't played quick play before. This is where you find your quick play hunters as before, no big changes. It's just the same visual style as the other ones. You'll see the upgrade points, you'll see what weapons you've kind of taken out, and they would be recruited for free here. But there's also the Legendary Hunters tab. So this is where it's becoming interesting, because here is where we have the Legendary Hunters ready for you. Now how that works is basically that first off, obviously they are locked because it's a cosmetic thing. We want you to kind of like play in order to get the upgrade points for it, and then choose the one you like. What you see here is now it's like the 7 we have in the beginning. And let's just recruit Sheriff Arden. So in this case, we unlock him. Now Sheriff Arden is available. So he is permanently unlocked right now because we've kind of spent the additional blood bonds on this, which means now we can always recruit a Sheriff Arden for half a devil, 333 hunt dollars, our in-game currency. We kind of change the icon away from the dollar symbol, so it's basically a bit more fitting to with the blood bonds, etc. So you have this icon you can kind of memorize and get back to. This is the regular money you earn by playing missions. And what you can see here is maybe before we recruit him, you can also toggle the bio, which means basically you understand a little bit more who this person is, what he's doing, and we have that for all of the legendary hunters here.
I see everyone already like, I need that red shirt. It's so funny.
Yeah, red shirt is awesome. But now, no red shirt. It's going to be Sheriff Arden. All right, so in this case, we're going to hire him for $333 hunt dollars. So Sheriff Arden is ours now. As you can see, the legendary hunters, you recruit them without any gear. It's basically the starting platform, and you can then turn them into whatever you like. So they don't come with like random gear, etc. Like they're blanks, and you can then equip them and play with them, rank them up, give them the traits you like, etc. So in this particular case, no, I'm not going to give him the bomb plans this time around.
No, it's fine.
Let's see, what do we have here? Let's give him maybe.
I mean, what does a sheriff use? Usually a shotgun, right?
Yeah, let's give him a pump shotgun. So Harden has the shotgun. As you can see, if you obviously zoom in there, you can see some of the details better. Like, he's a badass. And give him like a 6-shooter. Again, give him a knife, maybe quickly a medkit. Maybe for emulators, you give him the dusters, medkit. And then, yeah, maybe he brings his personal stash of alcohol. So that's the fire bombs. Worst case, he has to throw them. Otherwise, he can celebrate the end of the day. So now that's basically equipped Sheriff Arden. As you can see how quickly it was to just kit him out right now. It's very convenient, very nice, and should make things a lot easier for you if you go between missions, recruit hunters, etc.
So no, you do not lose your legendary character. You can just rehire him,
exactly.
Like you would rehire any other hunter. But you can only have one of the same.
Exactly. So Sheriff Arden is right now in our roster. He is one of the hunters we have recruited. So if you go back to recruitment and go back to legendary hunters, you can see Sheriff Arden. He's currently in use. So obviously, I will not be able to recruit another one until Sheriff Arden has passed away somewhere in the swamps.
And then he will come back to life all over again.
Exactly. And
Magic.
what you can do is maybe just like unlock like another one here, like the Night Acolyte, for example.
I mean, can we unlock the red shirt? Come on, I think the team wants.
We can do it in a sec. And then in here, for example, you see like she's available to be recruited. And if I would now put her in here again, it would be checkbox. She's currently in use. So the unlocks with Bloodbones are permanent, so you only invest it once. It also doesn't get wiped with any prestiges or anything like that. That's persistent forever. It's just that you always have to pay a little bit in order to hire them again.
Yeah.
So you want a red shirt, I guess. Let's get a red shirt. So let's hire Redshirt.
Ta-da!
He's such
Yeah.
a great guy.
Yeah.
Look at him.
He's awesome. So now what do we give Redshirt? Let's say maybe an axe?
A melee. He must be melee. Like a
And-
machete.
And maybe...
No, machete. He should
And,
just all.
oh, you want to be all melee?
Yeah.
Sure.
You can explain the red dots.
Oh yeah, okay, it's actually a good point. So what we talked about earlier, so in this case, obviously, because I can't put this one in the slot here, the weapon is being displayed, but it doesn't fit, because it's a large slot weapon, so obviously it's being marked out here. So it makes it a bit easier to understand what you can equip and what large, medium, and small slots actually mean. So now, how does he look like? There we go, Hatchet Man. That's X-Men right there. I expect to see a few of those in the
He
swamps.
doesn't even take tools or consumables. That's how cool he is.
You want double axes, okay? Well, we can do that too. Because it's 2 medium slots, so now
But then nothing else.
axes for redundancy.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy is set. Like he's gonna kill. All right, so that's basically how you go about recruiting and like equipping hunters. So I think that, as we mentioned before, like this was one of the really important things for us to get right, to make sure that between missions you can kind of like go and easily adjust your loadouts or restock on equipment, etc. Go back into the game without the interface being an annoyance. And then maybe Carsten, you can show it maybe quickly with the controller again.
I think for this screen the controls are not implemented.
So you can kind of go to equipment quickly, etc. Like can toggle between the different menus, can scroll down, up, and so overall it's a lot more interesting. So there's one thing you might have been wondering about, which is the clean button. So basically,
I see a lot of people. What is clean?
where is the clean?
Clean.
So we
Yes, we see as well.
we mentioned it like in one of the previous streams that we're introducing this cleaning weapon. So to recap a little bit, what it means is basically this is not a gameplay relevant feature. This is just for visuals. So your weapons are kind of a bit dirty. You kind of buy them secondhand a little bit already out of the get-go. You can see that kind of a little bit muddy here and there. The exception being like legendary weapons, which we're going to talk about in a second when we get to the store, which will always come in a pristine condition because they're like polished up for you because they're so nice looking. Every time you get downed in the game, so every time you get downed and your partner picks you up again, your weapon will be a little bit dirtier. So it's not about like just going into the mission and playing, it's really just linked to the death event. Obviously, if you're dead, there's no use for your weapon anymore. In this case, don't bother. However, if you pick up a weapon from someone else that got down, they killed like a team and you want to go through weapons, obviously their weapons will also be a bit dirtier because they have been fallen to the ground, etc.
Yeah.
Now, what you can do is you can just go and clean these weapons, and visually they will look a little bit cleaner. But it's really just a cosmetic thing, and obviously if you care about your weapons, it's a nice little thing, but absolutely nothing gameplay relevant. It's a nice little feature. For convenience options, what you can also see here is like we have like additional sell all options, so it
If
makes
you have multiple instances, you can
exactly.
sell them all at
So
once.
here in this
Quick
case, the
question.
two Lemats, we can just like sell all quickly, and then we got them rid.
If you own multiple weapons, one is clean and one is dirty. Are they two separate displays?
Yes, I can show you in a second. So for example, we buy again like another X here because we like X's. We actually buy like another one here. So if I clean them now, obviously I have. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, let me sell. There might be still a bug in there. So let's clean this one. No, it doesn't work either. Okay, well, then we can't show the cleaning today because it's one of the newer features that might still be being worked on a little bit. But yes, they would be basically stacked together. So like all of the weapons which have the same level of dirtiness are grouped together. And by just clicking the button, like if you have like 5 clean ones, obviously they will be all together in one stack.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it for this menu here. All right, then we move on to the store. So the store is actually also a pretty interesting new thing for us because you can see there's obviously lots of overlapping functionality, the filters, etc. But what you will see in the store in addition is like an economy change that we talked about in one of the previous streams, which is that the main weapons are being unlocked by rank, like before. However, the variants of the weapons, they are unlocked now in the Book of Weapons, which is a new book. We're going to show you that in a second. And that kind of tracks the progress of what you need to do in order to get to these variations. For the purpose of the store, however, it's important then to understand that you have on one hand weapons that you've already unlocked, like this Romero 77, for example, available from rank 1. If I scroll down a little bit further, I might have a few weapons here at one point, which
Yeah, maybe you should
ranked-
just show the
ranked
uppercut
locked.
because I feel a lot of people are very eager, and I'm gonna just give those to you guys.
Yeah, here's the uppercut. There we go. So uppercut, all the stats basically of the weapon, handling, etc. is basically same as before. With that regards, a melee, etc. Muscle velocity has with the projectile stuff has been adjusted. Shows you the effective range, the true damage. Shows you the price of the weapon. Obviously, again, we've rebalanced the entire price scale. So like $395 here. You have to see that in perspective with other changes we've been doing. So don't look at this in isolation. For example, if you have the obras, let me see if I can quickly go to the obras. Let's use our feature here. The obras right now, for example, is with 290. It's a little bit cheaper than the uppercut, but it is actually a medium slot weapon, so it comes with a disadvantage. So like parts of our balancing efforts have been in order to try to like see like how convenient to use as a certain weapon, what handicaps does it have, etc. And the pricing has been adjusted with that in mind. So again, don't call and cry for nerfs yet, because this is a full rebalance of the entire shop. Lots of things have been adjusted in price, and also your income has been adjusted. As you've seen before, we've given you additional bounty bonuses for playing, for example, against teams of 3. If you're not having a team of 3, playing as solos. So there is a different amount of money in circulation right now. There's a different income of money. There's different spending of money. So take that with a grain of salt. Ideally, just play this on the test server once we get to the test server, and then give us some feedback on that from there.
What is handling?
Handling is basically a mix of different things. It's an abstract rating. I'm kind of going to read the thing here. An abstract rating of effectiveness, which takes into account the weapon's sway, the recoil, and the bullet spread. So this is both basically the accuracy depending variables. So like how easy is the weapon like to keep under control. And like something like a shotgun, like a Romero, I mean, it's very effective in handling, right? Like it's very easy to just point and shoot, especially the Romero with its longer range and the other shotguns is a pretty effective weapon. If you compare this again, for example, against a Nagant pistol, I mean, it has a handling of 63, which is like somewhere in the mid-range. And if you compare this again against like one with a stock, that stock weapon actually is, let me just hover over it, you can compare it to numbers like 86 on the stock weapon, because there's little recoil on the stock, because you can kind of stabilize it. It's a weak round anyway, so it doesn't kick much. So the precision weapon is a lot easier to use, but obviously as a medium slot weapon, it has a difference. Also, you can see the rate of fire, for example, being different between the two. We mentioned in the last stream as well, or last gameplay stream, where we said like that the precision and the Deadeye version, they get a bit higher rate of fire, because it's easier to kind of like work the hammer while you're having this pressed against your shoulder.
Yes, and I see a lot of people already ask about the 3D view.
Yes, we get to that in a second. Hold your horses. All right, so is there anything else on the unlocking? Yes, because I was in the middle. I picked up my train of thought here again. So we talked about the Romero. The Romero is already unlocked. In this case, the first variation that will be unlocked afterwards is the Romero hand cannon. As you can see, this one is a library unlock, see with the book here. And it's currently the one you would work towards to get unlocked next, because it's the first unlock. Obviously, we kind of have a cheap profile here with rank 100, but we haven't spent any second in game working towards these unlocks. So in a typical profile, you would have a lot more options unlocked by that time, logically. Now, what would be happening if I unlock this is then I would be able to unlock the next weapon in line, which would be the actual Romero 77 Talon. You can see it here. It's basically giving you a description. It requires unlock of Romero 77 hand cannon, so the left neighbor. And you also see it's a library unlock, but this one is still completely gated. So you need to kind of like work your way from variant to variant in order to get there. So if you want to have the Romero hatchet, which would be the last in line of this category here, then you first need to unlock the hand cannon, then the talon, and then the hatchet. Now, how does that work? And I think for that we should maybe just go to the library and have a look at it. So we're gonna go to the Romero and have a look at it in the library. So it directly brings us there. As you can see here, the Romero has been unlocked. I don't have the mastery versions yet for it unlocked, so I would be able to get additional blood bonds. So this is the reason why we are resetting the Book of Monsters as well, is because all of these mastery unlocks give you additional blood bonds. And now what we can see here, if we scroll here, is we see the Romero family. So Romero 77, the first one is already unlocked, and we would be currently grinding towards like the first mastery unlock to unlock additional lore pieces. But we also would like to maybe unlock the Romero 77 handcan, the first in line. For that, we need to kill 5 infected, which is the grunts, the basic enemy we have in the game, with any of the Romero 77 variants. Obviously, at this point, we only have the basic Romero, so you need to play with the Romero 77 in order to get the handcan.
Unless you get it from another turret.
Exactly, unless maybe a recruit comes with one, etc. So all of the variations, everything which is in this family here, counts against the progress. So you're not stuck to having to use then the handcan to get the Talon. It can be any of the variations we've unlocked so far. These conditions, they kind of change step by step. So very likely, once you've unlocked the Talon, in order to get the hatchet, you might need to do something with melee kills, for example, to kind of like take into account the fact you've just unlocked something with a melee. Similar way, if you scroll down maybe to the rifles, I think they were down here. Actually, no, wait, they're further up. My bad. If you go up to the rifles, you might have, for example, a sniper rifle here. So this is the Mosin Nagant family. In this case, starts with the basic Mosin. Then in order to get the next one, you need to kill 15 marked. This is our special AI, so this is like the armored, the hive, etc. With the Mosin 8091 or any variants. Obviously, again, I only have one. And once I've unlocked that, there comes the bayonet again, and I can do that with either the Obris or the regular one until I get to the sniper version. And very likely, once I have the sniper, to get to the aftermath, I will need to do something with maybe headshots because it's a sniper weapon. So the goals, the challenges, what you need to do are kind of like always linked a little bit to what the current weapon does. So the library is a bit of an optional thing. This is just if you want to really go through, if you want to read the narrative behind it. Like each of these weapons have some mastery unlocks as well, so you can kind of like learn more about like stories involving these weapons or people that maybe invented them, etc. So it's a pretty nice thing to read through. Gives you a lot of additional story pieces that we've put together next to the Book of Monsters as the thing that you already know. Now, the whole book here, though, is still a kind of a secondary thing, because everything you need to know is inside the store. So if you want to just unlock something, you just basically look in here, what is it you need to do in order to get there. So if you just scroll halfway through, let's go, for example, to the Windfields. In order to get to the Windfield Swift, I need to first get the Talon, the Aperture, and then obviously I have the base version, which will unlock, I think it's rank 42, I'm 100% sure right now, could be 40, because we've already unlocked it since we are rank 100.
And for the one which are in progress, you will see the unlock condition in the detail.
You see it kind of here, over there, and then there's a progress bar and as well as a count.
Yeah, exactly.
So in this case, probably it's going to be like kill 25 infected with this weapon, and then with the previous weapon to unlock this weapon here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to unlock. I mean, you don't have to unlock everything as well. And also, yes, you will have to redo this when you proceed.
So the Winnie Marksman is a question there. You have to keep in mind there's two Winfields, right? There's the Winfields M1873C and the M1873. What we've just looked at here is the full magazine Winfields, so the base 1873. Obviously, the Marksman, like the C, is based on the C version, like the silencer is. So it's not part of this family. It's a separate family to unlock. And also, we're not forcing anyone to play with any weapon. So if you're not a fan of the Aperture, although I must say it's become a lot nicer to use, I've seen in the previous stream, like with the increase of the zoom, it also supports some of the traits now. It means that in order to get the Talon, you just need to unlock this. But in order to unlock it, you can use any of the other versions. You can just stick with a basic weapon here. There's absolutely no one forcing you to play with a specific variant of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what we have on the store. As you can see, the same stats. You can also, if you want, if you don't really want to see the unlock order here, you can just sort it by name, or you can use your filters again, for example, to get like the Bornheims. And or again, like if you want to see all the medium slot weapons, actually this one here doesn't really work. So this is actually a long slot weapon, so this is just wrongly sorted in right now. So no panic. And then you can kind of like choose a little bit based on that what weapon you would like to have. Obviously, these lists keep on growing as we add variations and new weapons to the game, so that's nice to have these sorting options. All right, then that's the base weapon list here. Well, you have some.
Want to show the 3D view?
Yeah, actually, let's do that right now. That's a very good point.
Do the Dolch. It's a great weapon.
So we can pick, let's say the Dolch. Yeah, that's a good point. So. Obviously, you see a nice little 2D picture here, but that's nothing compared to the actual proper weapon. So we're gonna now preview this gun. Takes a second to load in. So what we see right now is the Dolch in all its full glory. So you can use that to kind of like zoom around, you can see the details and have full control about what this weapon looks like. You can even fire the weapon. Fired multiple times. You see like the new gun smoke that we're adding. We showed you like a video of that one, so you see kind of smoking from the barrel, which is really, really nice. It's one of my favorites actually. So you see a lot of the gun porn that we've added to the game.
And you can hear it.
And that's actually a very interesting point, because maybe sometimes it's hard to kind of get to know a certain weapon, right? It's hard to understand, like, how, at distance, how does this weapon sound like? Not just up close, but like, is this guy having like for example, a Sparks, or does he have like a Mosin Nagant? And the good thing is that you can zoom, which means you can kind of like go a bit of a distance. You can fire the weapon again. Let's just press the button or like this, and you can continue zooming. And zooming like 100 meters already. And you can zoom even further. You can fire the weapon. You hear it like, in the distance. Now you can keep on zooming even further and further and further. 500, 600.
Go a bit further.
Even at this distance. And now we're at 1,000 meters. Coincidentally, I think our map is like 1 square kilometer, which is like 1,000 by 1,000 meters. So what this means is basically we will be able to go through each of the weapons and
Everyone's
actually
like, oh my god, this is so good.
and actually look through it. So this is something our a team has kind of like come up with spontaneously. It says this wasn't like a planned feature, but like credit goes to Matto, one of our level designers, and he's
put
done
a lot of love in it.
lots of love, and obviously with the other people joining in and seeing that the potential of this feature, it's really a pretty awesome thing. It's a nice little gimmick, and you can,
I do love also how it's like you just go through like it's a sort of like dream almost.
Yeah. Until you get close again to your weapon, which you can preview. So yeah, that's actually one of the things which no one really had on their radar, and it kind of happened. And,
Yeah, how did you come up with this? Like,
this is a question for Matto specifically.
Okay.
But I can tell you, like in this place, like also with previous games, like Crisis games, etc., some of the coolest features have always kind of come into our games
let's
with
do
these
one more,
ideas.
because I think a lot of people are like, oh my god.
All right, let's look at more weapons. Maybe we're gonna look at the label.
Yeah.
Let's take a rifle.
Craig, give him race. This is amazing. Super dope.
So you can kind of see the label rifle in its full glory. It's like the markings on it, and yeah, everything that you know about this gun from first person. Can I see how it works, the bolt?
Yeah, it's really cool.
And then maybe one more
The
weapon.
nitro. Do the nitro. I heard
The nitro. We can do. Do we have a nitro? I think we need to.
Search for it.
Need to search for it quickly.
Yeah, you can search for it.
Nitro. Well, there we go. We actually even have one. So let's 3D preview that one.
And nitro, and then zoom out as well.
Yeah, we'll do that. So yeah, nitro with some of the details that maybe some people might have never really actually seen on this gun so far. Like some amazing details that Alex and the guys have put into this. So let's fire this thing point blank, maybe.
Zooming.
Then as we go and zoom over distance, do it at maximum, and then we get closer again.
No. Oh, you're zooming. I was like, what is going on?
And you see, so I think this one actually has a bug at the moment, as you can see, because you hear really nothing.
Yeah.
But didn't really be fixed before we went to Sarah. But I mean, just look at the muzzle flash on this alone. I mean, this is yeah. I think like the real one, like every shot is like $50 or something like that. Like it's quite expensive, quite powerful.
Every shot is big.
So yeah, this is a very nice feature, and I'm pretty sure people will have lots of fun with that, exploring all the different weapons, looking at the details.
Yeah.
It's not only weapons; it's also for consumables and tools.
Yep. Let's maybe have a look at some of the tools then first. We're gonna get back to legendary weapons in a bit. So this is how the tool list looks like. It follows the same logic. So again, the tools and the consumables have been grouped together somewhat. Something we again also mentioned in one of the previous streams a bit more in detail. But what it means is, if we, for example, go to the fusees in this case, so you can see like you need to unlock the fusees before you can get the flare pistol. If you show it in the library,
it was actually a good question. Will it be different for 3D view for clean and dirty?
That's the plan, at least. I think at the moment it doesn't work yet fully.
Okay.
So, but it's just about that. If you clean the weapon up, you would be able to see it then,
yeah.
obviously in the clean or the pristine way. So you can see here like we have a light category now. Like starts with electric lamp, and then you will have the fusees, and then you will have the flare pistol as a next step. Something similar we've been done with the fire bombs, for example, where you have the fire bomb, then the liquid fire bomb, the hellfire bomb, or with the explosives. It's one of the bigger categories. You start with the dynamite stick, you go to wax dynamite, sticky bomb, dynamite, frag bomb, big dynamite bundle. And again, you can use any of those you've unlocked in order to complete the next step. So quite a lot of things. Like this is an interesting category with deception, for example. It bundles different things in there. Like you have the decoys as a starting point, you get alert trip mines, you get the chaos bomb, as well as the blank fire decoys. And then you have the tactical gadgets, which starts with the concertina trip mines, gives you the flash bomb and also the concertina bomb. So things have been kind of grouped together to give you that variant unlock conditions. And the first one is then usually rank-based unlock. So at one point you will get the poison bomb, at one point you get the concertina trip mines, and from this point you have the first one on. You can start then working towards the unlocks.
Can you 3D view with a poison bomb?
We can do that certainly. Let me go to consumables for that. So here again, same list in the consumables. And if you 3D view that, you can kind of see like how the poison bomb looks like, actually how makeshift this thing is. Like it's a piece of wood kind of clamped together quickly, like some medical supplies from a company called Asmos. Not sure, I heard that name before.
Who's Asmos?
And like some container that holds like the fluid, which obviously breaks on contact.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't shoot those. It's only for working for the weapons. But I mean, being able to see these assets, like different weapons, equipment, etc., is pretty awesome already. All right. Then we've looked at the tools, the consumables. You have this similar like filter options. You can say like, show me everything with healing, or show me everything that makes noise, which is in this particular category. Same is true here, like, so show me something which sets things on fire. So obviously chaos bomb, the blank fire decoys, if you form on an oil patch, they can ignite, as well as this here. So we're still in the process of tagging some of those. So like on the fire you probably would have also seen the fuses, but this is just like us maintaining the data behind it and making sure that all the filters work correctly and have the correct stuff, and otherwise you can refer again to the stats and compare them. All right, then I think let's show the legendaries.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the legendary category. Again, it shows you a moment. I think it's alphabetically for the most part here. The different weapons you can have. Some of those you've probably already seen in the legendary content stream, and obviously I think we're gonna show some stuff there in a second. So let's maybe unlock the bone wave. So I'm gonna unlock this one here right now. Now, interesting part here is that obviously with weapon unlocks, you always get one version for free, right? So you get already one as you unlock it. And if you now go on the 3D viewer, you can look at this fantastic weapon up close.
And with free, we mean that they have one thing and then you have to do them with in-game money, so not
exactly. I'll show you that in a second again with some of the other weapons. So here again, you can see kind of like the details that go into the legendary weapons. It's fantastic. I mean, I'm so super happy with the details that we've put on these guns. Like the art guys are just amazing on this. And again, you could kind of zoom out, but you don't really want to zoom out on this gun.
Just fire at least once, you know, with the muzzle flash. You gotta see that smoke coming out. Yeah.
And again, it's only cosmetics.
Yes.
It's not pay to win.
Exactly. This is just a weapon skin. The weapon doesn't have different stats.
Yeah.
That's
and
an important
unlock
part.
a random legendary, I mean, you can choose that, and the first 1 to 10 bloodline levels, and then 20, 30, 40, and then 50 is a special one.
Exactly.
More details about that.
Yeah, we have a couple more things there.
Yeah.
So let's maybe unlock one more. Again, you unlock persistently forever once, and then even if you now put this on Hunter, we can go quickly to the roster. Let's give Sheriff Harden maybe something a bit more appropriate for his office. So now you have Bad Blood, which is one of the legendary Dolch weapons we have in the game. And
question: if they're not unlocked, can you still see them in the 3D viewer?
Can again?
If you haven't unlocked them, can you still see them in the 3D
Yes.
viewer?
So I mean, right here, like any of them, like let's have a look at the Black Sun.
I mean, it's important to look before you buy.
Yeah, you want to see how really awesome they are. I mean, just look at that.
Makes
stuff.
sense.
I mean,
Makes sense. Looking before you buy.
I mean, this is for me the definition of gun porn right there.
PG there now. Yeah, it looks really cool.
So
very
really,
nice.
really nice stuff here. And yeah, that's basically the weapons you can go through. There's lots of interesting things in here. Different variations. Some of the prestige rewards obviously listed. Like this one here is actually one of my favorites. This is like a legendary uppercut version. Like some really awesome Indian markings on it. So yeah, really good stuff.
I think you can spend a lot of hours in the 3D viewer. And
Just looking
I
at
certainly
it,
did.
yeah.
I certainly did. And so yeah, just going through this. Oh, what was that? Did you notice? Did you see?
I don't know. What
Oh
is
my
that?
God.
What?
I think I've heard that name before. I've heard that name before somewhere. It must have been a very famous hunter. Very famous hunter that owned this particular gun. A gun for the best marksman among us.
I mean, are we gonna do the 3D view? Are we gonna do
I think we should. We should definitely check this one out. Oh my god. Look at that beauty. It says right here, the Sparchy. I am the Sparks. One shot, one kill. Really good stuff. So you should definitely check this one out. Probably one of the best snipers that I've seen in the Bayou has been going to carry this one.
Okay.
All right. So I think we don't want to go through each of them because we want you guys to experiment them once we go on the test server eventually with that. So you can look at that yourself and like find the ones you like the most, talk about it, etc.
Yeah, and obviously maybe in the future, we get more.
Yeah.
It's not like they're done, obviously.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry about that.
So yeah, besides that, I mean, the blood bonds we talked about in before, like play the game, you get blood bonds, so you don't have to buy any packs, but you can also do that at a later point. We're going to show it right now because there isn't really much there yet, but you will be able to just play the game, complete the weekly challenges, for example. All of the accolade cards give you blood bonds, so you can kind of work towards the next unlocks and get all these cool cosmetics, and if you want a shortcut, obviously you can just buy a couple of the packs and just do it a little bit faster if you want. So I think that we've covered a large chunk already, but there's one thing additionally we want to talk about, which is the leaderboard. So we have leaderboards finally. As you can see here, obviously this is a very representative player base. Obviously with the test accounts. Unfortunately, Mac, you're not as good as Hunt Demo 13 and 14. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, how is this? I feel rigged.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for all of you guys, none of you have died yet. So obviously this is just like as a couple test accounts here, but it kind of shows the point of what this is going to do. So this is our in-game leaderboards and gives you a chance to kind of like see the usernames, see the KDs, different like stats they have, and you can filter between bounty hunt and quick play, which obviously gives you like different like Wellspring activated or salvation streaks here. You can kind of like become better at compared to the other game mode.
Wow, Arik, I don't remember this. You're
And
fired, by the way.
one of my favorites is that you can have the world, which means everybody, like it's going to be the top, I think 200 will be displayed in here. So global leaderboard, but you also have a friends leaderboard, and unfortunately no one is friend with Mac, so it's gonna be
No friends. Too bad. And all those friends that wants to add me. I mean, I see.
But Hunt Demo 13 and 14, for example, I mean, this is because you are the one, right? You don't compare there.
I am.
But it gives you a chance to kind of see how you're doing against your friends and like who is really the best shooter here in the Bayou. So yeah, again in the library we have the additional new book. We've kind of went there directly from the store. Gonna only quickly go through. Gives you all the options you have for unlocking reading about it, unlocking the additional mastery levels, get some blood bonds. You can do the same now in the Book of Monsters. So if you unlock like a specific like monster, etc., you can kind of like go and find the additional pages. Unfortunately, it means those of you guys who've really paid a lot of attention to this already and unlocked that, mentioned it before though, it has to be re-unlocked because of the additional reward we put in there for the blood bonds. But then again, unlocking is not just fluff, which is super awesome on its own right. It's a pleasure to read. It's a really, really nice story. In addition to that, you also get something to maybe work towards the next legendary unlock or reshuffles or whatever you would like to do with the blood bonds.
Exactly.
All right. I think then that kind of has been the big haul here, right?
I mean, has this been a big haul? I mean, I do think what people loved most is definitely that feature, which was hearing the shots and seeing it from the distance, because I think everyone went an outcry.
Oh, there's actually one more thing we can show. But we have to see whether Josef, the man on the chair, can actually reset the roster, like the bloodline afterwards, because we're gonna quickly go and do a prestige to show you guys what it means to prestige.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we've kind of like we're lucky to have a rank 100 bloodline here with zero stats.
So I'm very curious because like people were like, is that why it's gold actually? If you're 100.
This one here is because it's maxed out, I think. So, yes.
No, it's because of you cheated.
Oh, because we cheated.
Normally it's red.
Yeah, the full thing is red. We will see that once we
know.
Yeah.
Your progress is red.
Exactly.
And the yellow one is just the new progress you did from the last match.
Exactly. So it was a very good round we played, I think.
Very good round.
Okay. And so we're going to press prestige now. So, are we sure we want to prestige? Prestiging obviously resets everything, as you know, or at least some of you do, and we're gonna definitely do it. So now, what we can do is we can choose our prestige reward. So we can either have a certain amount of start money. So like next time we start the game, it's not going to be, I think, 4K. It's going to be 6K.
Yeah.
We still might need to change that number a little bit, make it a little bit higher. We're still in the tuning process of that one. Alternatively, you can go and get a 10% bonus on your mission XP. So whatever you earn inside the mission, as you go in the summary screen, gets a 10% bonus on top. So this is obviously interesting for people who want to like progress through multiple prestiges faster.
Yeah.
And then you also have the chance, again, we've kind of mapped it against the first 10 and then in steps of 10. So you will not get it for every time you do a prestige, but you get it for the first 10 times, and then every time you hit 20, 30, 40, etc., you can get a random legendary item.
So let's do the random one.
With the exception of the times where you get a very specific one. So if you do the random one, unlock? In this case, we got Spite, which is a Cold War conversion legendary weapon that is now unlocked for us for free. It's a random unlock, so obviously we don't know what we'll get. But rest assured that whoever has prestiged already, when we do go with this on the live servers, so this won't be on the test servers, then they will get all of that stuff retroactively that they've unlocked. So there will be lots of like people sitting there probably for minutes in front of this with new weapons popping up as they get what is theirs. So in the store, for example, we can now see Spite over there that we've unlocked it. We got one version for it for free again. And can just then recruit it in a normal way. Keep in mind that the legendary weapons, they're like skins, right? Like you need to have access to the respective weapon in a progression in order to be able to buy additional versions. So once you unlock them, you get one for free. But then again, you can also lose that when the hunter dies. Then you have to wait until you've reached the respective rank again to unlock the main weapon. And then you will also be able to buy additional of these weapons. So obviously, since Spite is a Cold War conversion pistol, and we are rank 100, obviously it is kind of unlocked by default right now. And we could buy additional ones once the one we have is lost in the swamp somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is us. So since we prestige, we don't have a like hunter, so we can just, so you see that you get your free reshuffle, obviously. So let's reshuffle once. We've already been cheated again up to 100. Thanks, Josef. And then we just hire one more hunter here or huntress here, and then we could go and play.
No, you cannot play with most in a bloodline level 1. Unless you find one, but
unless you unlock it. So I think the question is most likely, if I am on rank 1, we cheated here right now, and I would unlock one of those weapons here, let's say an auto 5. By unlocking it, I would instantly unlock it and I would get one version of it for free, even if I'm at rank 1 only. So if I would,
okay, good.
However, I will only be able to get additional ones for the price, for the regular dollar price, basically, once I have actually unlocked the real one. So you get one for tease, you can play with it. If it's lost, it's lost. And then obviously, since like it basically is a skin, you need to have the respective main weapon, so you can't really pay your way through this and bypass normal progression.
Okay.
So yeah, that's basically it.
So questions. I think a lot of you might have questions.
You wanna do this on the couch? You wanna do it here? What's?
We can do it on the. I mean, we can do it here. We can do it on the couch. Whatever.
Let's just do it on the couch, and
Pickles your fancy.
then at least they can see us again. Okay. Carsten stops making faces, etc. All right, then be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just go to the. We're unmuted now. Okay, thank you.
We're
no
really
worries.
back.
And we are back. I'm sorry. I was gonna say yes. We're gonna do a QA specifically for the UI right now. So we did one earlier for the teams of 3. So now is your chance to ask questions specifically for the UI. So if we can see the chat, then we can.
So we have the UI, I think, still up there. Yeah, correct, right? We can see the menu still. So
no sound?
Maybe the upper ones.
No, it should be sound.
no audio.
Really? Our mic is picking up. Maybe maybe that's too loud. That could be it. Good point. You should be hearing us, right? Right?
The menu.
Yeah. Okay, they hear us. Okay.
They hear us. The menu wasn't interfering anything, right? It was okay.
Yes, there's a lot of questions. So UI specifically, are we going to change the background?
We will tweak it.
Okay, we're gonna tweak some things. So obviously there are still some things that are not working or that we're still working on or that get changed a little bit, but at the moment, obviously it's still work in progress.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff which is placeholder icons we need to improve.
Let me see. It's gonna be really hard. Will the UI be resource heavy as the current UI? Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's graphic.
Let me see. Will you be able to bring highlights tab back in the previous match screen? I'm not sure if I understand the complete question, but
Is it referring to NVIDIA highlights or?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, the idea is that this will work just as before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have the trade unlock levels changed? I mean, that's more.
Yes, they have changed quite drastically actually. I have a nice list here, but I'm not gonna spoil all the details right now. But I would say there is probably not a few trades. I think most of them actually changed unlock levels, has been readjusted. We've done the same with the weapons as well, like made sure that like we have good weapons also available in the early game for newer players, that the unlock of the trades kind of like makes sense in order for when the weapons they're relevant for example, get unlocked, etc. So expect that to take quite a while to read through during the patch notes. order to understand the full
Yeah,
scope of it.
exactly. I mean, in general, we're gonna have long patch notes where you can read all the details.
I think it's like the longest patch notes we've had. So we're in the process of compiling some of that stuff at the moment. Obviously, as the features are being built, and it's quite an extensive list.
Exactly. The settings menu, did it change or is it the same?
It's changed a little bit, and we will make more changes in the future. Right now, it's not drastically changed.
Okay, and then we already heard a little bit of music in the background. Will this be the new music that we hear?
I think so.
Yeah, there's additional music pieces. Obviously, I think you've seen or heard actually something in the new like Teams of 3 trailer that we've shown earlier.
To listen to.
So yeah, expect there always to be something refreshing and new from the audio side, and that might or might not also appear in the menus. Obviously.
Can we still? That's good. Can we still shoot flares in the menu?
Should play.
The shooting flares. Like we're able to click on the thing when you're queuing up, and then you can see a flare come in the background.
I think at the moment that's not there anymore. No, because as you can see, there's like no real background level, as you can see, right? So that feature, I think, unfortunately, will not be carried over. But I think it's something we can live without.
Gosh, that was such a great feature, though.
We will have other Easter eggs.
Other things. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Can you resort or click and drag in the new menu?
No, but you just double click on things. You double. So you've seen it when we've been working this. Like just it's very like you don't even need anything like drag and drop.
Yeah.
It's very elegant. Just double clicking, clearing slots, updating, etc. Just buying. You don't need more than that. It's a few like mouse gestures, double clicking, and you got the key like layout that you like the key equipment that you want.
Drag and drop is not really elegant.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay, so there are some things that they say, like people want to know more about Bloodborne, people want to know more about the other things that we already explained. I would recommend watching all the previous streams, and in general, like when we're coming out, we're going to highlight some of the features that we have of the update. So at the moment, we just really want to focus on one topic. If you miss something, I highly recommend watching all the streams because they are very informational, or like they have
and long some of them
and long. Yes, exactly. You want to have something to watch. Netflix is not doing it for you right now, so that's why you're gonna watch the streams, and then you get all the answers, and that's why we do these streams, so we can give you the answers. But like answering the same questions over and over is really hard because then we don't get to answer new questions. So let's see.
Will all current data be lost on release date?
Can you speed up the book scroll? So if
definitely we will do that.
Okay, we can speed. That's going to be sped up. Okay,
the whole book will be overworked completely.
Okay.
Yes.
So look and feel, and
that's going to be good.
Including
Okay.
scrolling.
Let me see. So we're gonna have the book completely reworked for the people that don't know. Does it mean we'll also rework the Book of Monsters?
Yep.
Okay, so something we haven't seen yet. Can we switch or Can we switch or not drag then? Can we switch weapons between slots in the game and lobby? I'm not sure how you mean in the lobby, but now it will be from that screen where you see the lobby. So it will be the lobby screen.
Basically, that's the same functionality as is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have your arsenal, which is basically all the things that you currently own or could buy. And that's available directly from the hunters. And then you have the store where you also see the things that you can still work towards.
Exactly. Well, yeah, the problem is with like just having questions fired, sometimes people don't know what they're seeing yet. So it's like a bit hard to ask questions when they haven't seen the stream.
Yeah.
Let me see.
What is a marked character? So we've seen that before.
Yeah, we have explained.
So if you go to the Book of Monsters right now, in the 6.2 live version, you will see the different monsters being categorized. So we have the infected, for example, which are the basic grunts that you come across, the basic infected people that are roaming around the area.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have the marked, which is basically the specifically grossly mutated one. So there's the hive, the armored, includes the emulator and the meathead. Mm-hmm. So we refer to those as marked. So it's like a kind of the special AI. So some of the challenges for unlocking weapons might require to do something with the infected, so maybe just like kill 50 to 100 of the grunts, or it might do something like kill 25 marked with melee, and then you can choose you're going to do that with armored or with hives, etc. Exactly. We also have the pack enemies, which is the water devils and the hellhounds.
Exactly. So there's also people questions asking if you were to unlock like additional hunter slots, will that be carrying over in all your procedures?
Yes. So basically, that is a persistent unlock.
Yeah, it's the same with like anything that is unlocked, like legendaries, legendary weapons, legendary hunters, extra hunter slots. Whenever you prestige, you can still do this. So like
yes.
You still have to buy, like you recruit, you hire your hunter, or you buy your weapon because you still have to buy it from the shop. But that appearance will always be there, and the same with those slots.
Yes.
Like you unlock them once and you have them forever.
Yes. You use the regular currency, stuff that you earn in a mission, then to purchase the instances of it.
Do you think that the need to re-unlock the Book of Monsters will prevent people to hit the prestige button? I mean, it depends, because obviously if you want to know more information about stuff that you haven't unlocked yet, but you also want to proceed.
But this is the interesting thing. The mastery levels don't get relocked with prestige. They carry over. So that if I'm already having a mastery level of a specific enemy or mastery level of a specific weapon, that doesn't reset.
Wait, what? I'm confused now.
So
now I'm confused.
The base weapons. Let's unconfuse you.
Yeah.
The base weapons, they obviously get locked again, right?
Yeah,
you start at rank 1, you need to unlock the variants, etc. But you also have the mastery pages, right? So once you have unlocked a weapon, you can do something with that weapon. For example, like unlock mastery 1, unlock mastery 2, just as you can right now on 6.2 do with the Book of Monsters, where you can kind of unlock the grunt. So if you kill your first grunt, and then if you spend more time killing grunts in different ways, you might be able to unlock the different pages for it, like killing a certain amount of hives, killing a certain amount of meatheads to unlock their respective pages. Now these mastery pages, they carry over, so they do not get reset with prestige. So you can use multiple prestige runs in order to complete your collection.
Gotcha.
And this is one of the reasons why we've added the blood bond rewards for it, so that even though you can only ever unlock them once ever, you get this like finite amount of blood bonds for you as a reward. If you prestige, they remain, but obviously in order to continue, you need to first unlock the weapon again.
Exactly. Okay, that's good to know. I do know. I learned new things.
Are you
today as well.
unconfused?
I am unconfused. Okay, and I do want to point out for people that want to have questions answered unrelated to this specific stream, ask them in our Discord. Like, we answer questions every day, throughout the day, every day. We have people answering any question that is not even related to this topic, and questions that we've been asked a lot of times and answered a lot
It's
of times.
basically the things that we do the most, right? Like basically accepting Steam friend invites and and answering
None
questions.
of those get accepted. Do the variants of the weapons persist between prestige? In other words, do I need to unlock? Oh, that's what we just answered.
Yeah, the variants you will have to re-unlock.
Yeah.
So it's basically like at the moment, if you do like a prestige, you reset to rank 1, and everything right now, since everything is rank gated, has to be unlocked again. And in this particular case, with a new version, you still need to also unlock the variants. But the thing is, like, we're now introducing this to be a player-driven experience rather than something which is just linear mapped against ranks. So it's up to you which weapons to focus on. Like, if you don't really like, let's say, the Cold Revival, you don't need to spend much time with it, and you don't probably care about the variants either. You go directly, let's say, to the Cold Conversion Pistol, because maybe you want to much earlier get your unlock for your uppercut.
Exactly. And I saw a question, will the legendary hunters have a specific, I'm just waiting so the light doesn't go off, or that one is off, a specific, the health bars, are they always going to be the same location? Or?
So it's a good point, it's a good question actually. So every time you recruit legendary hunter, they come with a random assortment of health chunks. So sometimes you might get 350, sometimes you get like the one guy in the background there, 250s, 225ers. So every time you recruit legendary hunter, it's going to be a random allocation, but obviously they get the full health of 150.
Yeah, exactly. Book of Monsters 3D models, are we going to get those?
Would love to do it eventually. At the moment, it's not in though.
Exactly.
For 1.0, this will not happen.
I saw one. Yeah, we still have to re-invite people to the party, but it is made a lot easier to do that, like invite play loop. So
Yep.
there is a reload animation in a 3D view. right?
Coming in.
The reload animation, you can see it, right?
The reload, not.
Oh, not
but
the reload.
the rechambering,
how it-
reclocking, basically.
yeah. I mean, technically, that's a reload in a sense, right?
For a single shot weapon, it would be, yes.
Let me see. Is the in-game UI going to change?
We changed it a little bit for the teams of three, the trio things.
Yeah.
And
We introduced like the tactical team ping, basically. It allows you like to do things. But what we've been focusing primarily was features that were missing. So like additional like communication options, for example, with a ping feature, and otherwise more important for us with a UI team was to kind of solve the invite loop and recruit and equip loop. Like that's been a
getting
priority
into the
for us.
game
Exactly.
more important. The UI itself, the HUD itself works. It needs improvement, definitely, but it works like it is right now.
There's a few features that we're not going to talk about today, but in a later stream where we have improved further. So the tactical ping wasn't the last surprise you've seen.
Exactly. There's something that I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be excited about as well. So, let me see. Will there be an option to highlight the opacity of your teammate? I don't think we want to, right?
I don't think we have.
At the moment, we don't have that. It's something we looked into. It wasn't so easy for us to implement at the moment because the color is kind of fixed, and we wanted to make sure that we have this consistently set up for different times of days. We've kind of have it as a predefined, but maybe in the future we might give this as a customization option.
Someone asked, will the cursor be quicker on the Xbox now because it's currently quite slow? I mean, yes, I think it will be quicker, but not only that, you have a lot of direct buttons for pretty much most actions in game.
Yeah.
So you can now scroll through like the top menu, as you can see, it's like the LT and the RT and then the LB and the RB, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To go through the menu quickly, you can easily equip something, so there will be a lot more controller like
Press like the face buttons to buy, etc. That type of stuff.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
There will be very, very few elements which you need the mouse cursor.
Yeah.
So most of the things can be done with the controller directly.
Exactly. Then I'm actually curious because is the search completely removed from Xbox, or will you still be able to search for things in the menu by using the in-game keyword if you have a pop-up, for example?
We need to test it.
Okay.
Yeah. At the moment, we wouldn't have it, but we might be able to find a solution to add it up.
Okay. Yes, we will go on the test server when we're not sharing yet, but we will let you know when we let you know. Hey. Let me see. No, the invite for Team 3 at the moment will be that you can only invite up to 2 friends extra, so a team of 3.
Yes.
And eventually we want to maybe potentially have that where you can have it with random.
Post 1.0, you also have random teams of 3 for launch because you want to first test the waters with the feature, with this new option. It will be an invite-only feature.
Oh yeah, that's actually... Will the boss icon opacity slider come back?
Probably not for 1.0.
Yeah, not easily. I think we talked about this in one of the previous streams. We had it in there originally. The problem is by using the slider on it, actually it kind of revealed a little bit how we built that thing to begin with. And so we would need to first refactor how this icon is built to not avoid parts of the icon actually then intersecting with other parts, because obviously it's a Flash component.
Yeah.
And as such, it's not one graphical element. And by putting transparency in, sometimes it just falls apart visually.
I do know that we've talked about this in the past, to have an option to turn off the entire HUD with a button. One click is just gone. Do we still want to think about that in the future?
There will be a CVA whitelisted. So
Okay.
So
you can use the console to hide the UI.
Yeah, at the moment,
game.
it's already technically possible with some modifications as a zero, but obviously it's not supported from us in any way. You might be missing information or might not be able to interact with the menus, etc.
Just message me, Quinks, and I know you're in the Discord anyways. It's fine. Let me see. No, they will not stay in the lobby. We'll still have to reinvite them, but this is something that we potentially will have for post 1.0. Can we loot legendary weapons that we have not unlocked yet? Yes, as anything, you can loot any weapon that you haven't unlocked.
It becomes a contraband then.
Yeah, it's the exact same as it works now. So let's say you're rank 1, you kill someone with an aftermath, you can take the aftermath. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can take the aftermath. The Bullseye Hunter is for real, yes. The red shirt guy is real.
Red shirt is awesome. I love him.
Yeah. Will there be region-specific leaderboards?
At the moment, there is no region separation with them. It might be something we can possibly look into for the future. At the moment, we don't have that. At the moment, what we do is we give you a chance to look between like the how you call it, bounty hunt and quick play on one hand, and then we have filter option between global, so that's basically showing the top 200 or so, and your position. Obviously, it could be like whatever 30,000, and then also obviously just the friends, so you can see how you compare against your friends directly.
Gotcha. When you lose your legendary in game, this costs actually no. Well, you just have the in-game currency, like the fake $100 or hunt dollars that you pay for recruiting like hunters currently, but it has nothing to do.
Hunt dollars is the dollars that we have in the game
exactly,
right now.
Yeah.
It's just like that. In order to separate the two currencies, now that we have two, we made sure that like there's like a clear separation between them. So we have hunt dollars, that's what you earn normally in the game, and then you have the blood bonds, which is our premium currency, and you use that for cosmetics and convenience mostly, but not for gameplay relevant stuff.
Okay, let's do like 3 more questions. I see one. Can I make my profile private? I don't want my friends to see my bad stats.
What do you want to do?
If he wants to make his profile private.
Well, the profile is technically private. The stats are not revealed. So
No, but like when you have the leaderboards, when you can compare it to your friends.
Oh no, you can't do that. No.
So everyone will see how
everybody
bad
sees your
you are.
KD. Like the default stats, like everything what we've kind of shown, like default is obviously that is just local.
Yeah.
There's something broadcast. But what is on the leaderboard is on the leaderboard.
So everyone will see my great stats. Best stats.
You mean the
I
one
will
without
delete my
friends?
friends. What's that? I'm sorry?
I said the one without friends.
Yeah, the one without friends. I mean, I don't have friends. Let me see. Hunter's skill be required in the book of weapons or only I have considered make a story map. No, that's not really relevant right now.
There was another question, maybe just to go back quickly to the teams of 3, because it was raised again, just to recap that a little bit.
Yeah.
There was a question if, so now that we introduced the trios, the teams of 3, doesn't it make things harder for solo players? It does and doesn't. So first off, the teams of 3 is something that you need to tick a top box for it to matter for you. If you just uncheck allow teams of 3, you will never ever see a team of 3 as you move around. So you can play just as normal as a solo against only duos if that's what you want. However, we encourage you obviously to also try it against the trios, because you will get a higher reward. Like we can increase the value of the bounty tokens if you are in an underdog position. So a duo going into a team of 3 like situation will also be able to get more value out of the bounty if they manage to extract it, that is. So it's a risk-reward thing for you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I see one last question. Will the ELO be visible to players or any kind of ranking system not tied to how you play, so that people can see the actual...
You will not be able to see your actual ELO ranking, because that way people can very easily see from that what actions can kind of bump them up or down easily, right?
Yeah.
And that might lead to some people trying to find ways to exploit by dropping very hard down and then going hunting noobs, etc., even though they actually have the skill set. So we want to obfuscate it a little bit, like not reveal that completely. However, one update we're doing, and we might show it in the next stream, and we talked about it already in the previous stream, is that you will see comparative ELO ranking to the people that killed you. So if you get killed by a player, you will not see the exact number, but you will see whether his ELO ranking was roughly similar or a little bit higher, a little bit lower than yours, etc. So you can at least kind of understand, okay, well, that guy probably knew what he's doing, but you will not get the exact number.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, well, obviously, I know there's a lot of questions still left, but we want to give people the chance to also come to our Discord, discord.gg/HuntShowdown. where you can ask questions. You can also go to our Twitter, Hunt Showdown, or Facebook, Hunt Showdown, or Instagram, Hunt the Game, or our website, and then you can even tap there. So lots of places for you to ask questions where we'll go into more details and more stuff. So definitely come there to talk with us about other stuff, and we will see you guys on the next live stream. Unfortunately, no test server yet, but we'll keep you in the loop of when that's going to happen. So, and a reminder, Xbox is currently having a sale for Hunt, so check it out. 10% for all regular players and 20% if you're a gold membership. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you, Karsten. Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks for having us.
And we will see you guys next time.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. You can just stop. It's fine.